Solo Leveling Season 4 Episode 1 starts, and we see the chairman sitting in his office, and he's thinking about his health, which was getting worse because of work. He's thinking about all this when suddenly he senses something weird, and we see that the Frost Monarch had arrived there. The chairman gets quite shocked seeing him, and he thinks, this has been sealed off from the outside world, so no one's supposed to come here. Hearing all this, the chairman gets even more shocked. He starts thinking, am I dreaming or something? Then the Frost Monarch makes a small cut on his shoulder and says, if this were a dream, you wouldn't feel any pain, meaning this monarch could literally read the other person's mind. The chairman says, if this isn't a dream, then who the hell are you? The Frost Monarch says, I thought you'd recognize me without me having to say it, but it seems you're just an ordinary human after all. Hearing his words, the chairman gets even more confused, but the Frost Monarch starts speaking again. I have no interest in playing with the weak. Bring yourself out here. Fragment of light. And we see a massive explosion happen there, and smoke spreads all around. The Frost Monarch says, finally, you showed up. After that, we see the chairman emerging from the smoke. His stride is completely different now. Light is glowing from his body, and he looks way stronger than before. The chairman speaks, you trapped my office in a separate dimension. Not bad. The Frost Monarch says, I didn't think you'd be trapped inside this broken body, to the point where you'd have to think just to use your power. We've already figured out all 7 of your fragments, and we've already killed 2 of them. Now it's your turn. That makes the chairman angry, and he says, if you got the guts, go ahead and try. Frost Monarch. Yeah, the chairman who was confused just moments ago and was asking who he was. Now he even knew his name. Actually, the chairman is also a vessel of a ruler, just like Christopher Reed. Anyway, after that, their fight begins. The Frost Monarch tries to trap the chairman by building ice walls all around him, but the chairman easily breaks through them with a punch, and narrowly escaping the ice wall, he gets close to the Frost Monarch. The Frost Monarch creates an ice sword and tries to defend himself, but the chairman attacks him with incredible speed. However, the Frost Monarch is even faster and pulls back. The chairman thinks, I need to end this fight as quickly as possible, and he tries to attack again, but the Frost Monarch dodges all his attacks. Then suddenly, the chairman is surrounded and can't move. The Frost Monarch says, looks like this body of yours has hit its limit. You still want to fight? And saying that, he suddenly disappears. The chairman is confused, but then he suddenly appears right in front of him and stabs his ice rod straight into the chairman's chest. That rod goes completely through him. The chairman takes his last breath. The Frost Monarch says, how long will it take you to find a new body now? A year, 2 years. We've already gathered our entire army. By the time you come back, this world will already be destroyed. The chairman grips that rod tightly and says, just like we couldn't predict your plan, you've also missed something important. You've missed something important. The Frost Monarch asks in confusion, what did I miss? After that, the chairman uses the last bit of power he has left to launch a devastating attack. But the Frost Monarch dodges that too, and the attack smashes into the wall behind him. The Frost Monarch says, don't tell me that attack was your big final move. The chairman replies, yeah, you're absolutely right. The Frost Monarch is confused again and asks, what do you mean by that? Even if that had hit me, I don't think it would have made much of a difference. Then we see one of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers slip out from the chairman's body. Actually, the attack the chairman had launched had broken through the wall in front. Slipping through that gap, the shadow soldier bolts out of there immediately. The moment the Frost Monarch's eyes land on him, he thinks, what's one shadow soldier of the Shadow Monarch gonna do anyway? He says, hold on, and without wasting a second, he chases right after him. He's just about to kill that shadow soldier when Jinwoo shows up and blocks his attack. Jinwoo grabs him by the neck and lifts him up instantly. Literally, this monster the chairman couldn't even touch. Jinwoo showed him his place the second he arrived. Jinwoo says, who are you? I'm asking you. The Frost Monarch says, I can't believe this. You've already got this massive army of shadow soldiers. I can sense it clearly. Why didn't you try to contact us? But Jinwoo doesn't understand any of it. He thinks this is the same guy as before. Jinwoo says, let's end this fight right here for today. Jinwoo asks, what do you mean? The Frost Monarch says, because you came here to save that human, right? Jinwoo suddenly remembers, oh right, I put that shadow soldier inside the chairman. I hope nothing's happened to him. While Jinwoo's lost in thought, the Frost Monarch hurls an arrow made of ice toward the chairman's office. To stop it, Jinwoo quickly tries using his ruler's authority from a distance. But for the first time ever, Jinwoo's ruler's authority doesn't work. So without wasting a second, Jinwoo rushes over to block the arrow himself, and he gets there in time and stops it. But while Jinwoo was busy with all that, the Frost Monarch was opening a portal, getting ready to escape. The moment Jinwoo's eyes land on him, he says, "I'm not letting you get away like this." And he charges after him. He strikes him with his dagger, and it actually lands, but he still manages to escape. Before he escapes, he turns to Jinwoo and says, "You're nothing but a vessel for the Shadow Monarch, yet you still had the guts to wound me. I'll never forget this. I'll come back to fight you again. For now, consider that half-dead human a gift from me, something to add to your Shadow Army." And with that, he's gone. Jinwoo's furious that he couldn't finish him off. See, whenever Jinwoo plants a shadow soldier inside someone, he instantly senses any danger around them. But this time, the chairman's condition got this bad, and Jinwoo never felt a thing. That's because the Frost Monarch had trapped the chairman in a separate dimension. So the moment that shadow soldier stepped out of the office, Jinwoo sensed it and immediately used Shadow Exchange to get there. But by then, it was already too late. Jinwoo sees the chairman lying there, completely drenched in blood. He quickly summons Barrow and tells him to heal him. Barrow gives it everything he's got to heal the chairman, but the injuries are way too severe even. He can't do anything. Then Jinwoo thinks about giving him the holy water of life, but the chairman grabs his hand and says, "There's no need for that. You showing up here is more than enough for me. Thank you so much. I've taken way too much damage. Nothing can heal me now. I'm so thankful that you're such a powerful hunter. These gates and dungeons were never meant for them. They were meant to protect us. One day, the time will come when you have to choose one of two sides. So I'm begging you, please choose the side of humanity." As he says all this, tears start streaming down the chairman's eyes. He could barely even speak properly, but he still manages to say, "I've always told you this. I always wanted to fight alongside a young, talented hunter like you. But sadly, with this body, it was never possible. Still, I have no regrets, because I can leave this all in your hands with complete trust." And the moment he says that, his eyes begin to close. Jinwoo's eyes get misty too. The chairman speaks his final words, "Thank you very much." And with that, he takes his last breath. The moment he dies, the barrier shatters, and everything around seems to freeze. Jinwoo completely breaks down. Silence falls all around, and then it starts raining heavily, as if even the sky itself is crying, and that rain keeps pouring all the way through to the next day. The next day, the news channels are only talking about two hunters. One is the chairman, and the other is an S-rank hunter from Brazil, whose dead body was found by the riverside. He was also a ruler's vessel. After that, we see the chairman's funeral taking place. Jinwoo is there, along with Jinchul. And it's raining there too. Jinchul is completely shattered, because he was the closest one to the chairman. He says to Jinwoo, "I spoke with the chairman just yesterday. He was so excited, and he was calling me back to Korea soon. And today he breaks down sobbing before he can even finish." He thanks Jinwoo for trying his best to protect him. Then Jinwoo says, "No, I'll kill him myself. I swear right here I will not leave that monster alive." And as he says that, tears start streaming from his eyes too. After this, the scene shifts to a desolate cave, where we see all the monarchs gathered together. Among them, the Frost Monarch says that the Shadow Monarch is also on Earth. "You said there wasn't a single vessel like that in the whole world." Then another monarch speaks up, "Fighting him means suicide. Your opponent is no ordinary being. He's the strongest of all 9 monarchs. We should wait for the Dragon King, the monarch of destruction, to return. We should wait for his return." But the Frost Monarch isn't having any of it. He says, "We're monarchs too. So why should we wait for the Dragon King? There won't be a better chance than this to defeat the Shadow Monarch." While he's still in human form, he asks the Frost Monarch, "What proof is there that the Shadow Monarch is still in his human form?" The Frost Monarch says he put poison on his dagger, which the real Shadow Monarch, Ashborn, would never do. Then the Monarch of Plague speaks up. If the Shadow Monarch had full control over that body, he wouldn't need to pull tricks like that at all. After that, the two monarchs get ready to fight the Shadow Monarch. Meanwhile, it's already been a week since the chairman passed away. The Hunter Association members are meeting to decide who should be the next chairman. Some people are saying they should hire an S-rank hunter. Everyone gives their own suggestions, but in the end, they decide. Why not make Jinchul the next chairman? Because he was very close to the previous chairman and he has experience with all the work, so there's no one better than him. Jinchul wasn't really on board with that decision, but everyone hyped him up and convinced him to take it. After that, the scene shifts over to America, where Thomas Andre and his manager are heading down to the basement of their office. His manager asks, "Are you seriously going to gift that thing away?" Thomas says, "Why not?" Actually, in the last episode, Thomas had invited Jinwoo to dinner and told him that if he wanted any gift, he should just say so. So Jinwoo had asked for a dagger, and Thomas was about to hand over a super rare dagger, one that only exists as a single piece in the entire world. His manager keeps saying over and over, "This is a really rare item, you shouldn't give it away." But Thomas wasn't about to listen to any of that. He says, "It's rare. That's exactly why I'm giving it. Besides, I don't even use daggers, so rather than waste something this good, better to gift it to someone." A few days later, we see a crowd of reporters gathered outside the guild office because Thomas Andre had shown up there to meet Jinwoo. Alongside Thomas, another S-rank hunter had come too, all the way from Germany. He's got some business there, but for now, Jinwoo isn't in the office. Jinwoo and the rest of the guild members are inside, and things are getting rough for them because they've been waiting for the past 2 hours. Jinwoo keeps trying to call Jinwoo again and again, but there's no response at all. Just then, Jinwoo finally shows up. The moment they see Jinwoo and the other members literally break down crying. Like, "Man, through tears of relief, you finally made it." Jinwoo asks, "Why weren't you picking up your calls?" Jinwoo says, "I was a little busy." Jinwoo says, "One of these days you're going to get me killed." Then he asks, "By the way, why are your clothes so dirty?" Jinwoo says, "I was clearing out the dungeons and gates nearby. These days, the number of gates has gone up, so somebody's got to clear them." Then Jinwoo goes to meet Thomas. Jinwoo says, "So what brings you here?" Thomas says, "I promised that once my hand healed, we'd have lunch together, and I brought you a gift. Why don't we go somewhere more comfortable to talk? Besides, that gift is a bit dangerous." He says, "I've also been waiting here for the past 2 hours, so I deserve to meet Hunter Jinwoo too." Thomas says, "No, you can't come with us. We've got some top secret stuff to discuss." Poor guy couldn't even get a word out to Thomas. After that, Jinwoo and Thomas head to a restaurant for lunch. "Empty line placeholder," Thomas says, "You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this moment." And without wasting any time, he shows Jinwoo the gift. The moment Jinwoo lays eyes on that dagger, he understands and asks, "Is this from Kamish? I mean, a dagger forged from Kamish's remains?" See, back when Thomas fought Kamish, after killing it, he ripped out its biggest fangs and had this dagger crafted from them. The moment Jinwoo appeared, all its details flashed before his eyes. Jinwoo's shocked to see that dagger's attack damage was 1500. The dagger he'd been using before was the Demon King's, but compared to this one, it was nothing. The Demon King's dagger only had 220 attack damage. This dagger also reacted with Jinwoo's magic power, which made it even more deadly. Jinwoo's seriously impressed by this gift. He asks Thomas, "Can I really keep this for free?" Thomas says, "Who said it was free? Compared to you not killing me and my guild, this is nothing." The two of them are mid-conversation when suddenly they both feel an intense surge of magical power. They immediately rush outside the building. They see a massive gate has opened in the sky. That gate is so huge that even Thomas Andre is stunned. He says, "I've never seen a gate this big in my entire life. Even the gate Kamish came through was nothing compared to this one. Who knows what level of monsters are going to come through this time." Down on the streets, everyone's taking photos and videos of the gate. The news spreads across the world like wildfire. Even the American Hunter Association is talking about it, saying magical power had been detected over Korea's skies for a while now. So this is just the beginning. Gates like this are going to open all over the world. Just like they said at the Hunter Guild conference, that there are 9 such locations worldwide, and Korea was one of them. Over here, we see Jinwoo riding on Kezel flying right up close to that gate and trying to enter inside it, but he can't get through. This was the first time something like this had ever happened. Jinwoo thinks it feels like there's some kind of barrier. If it were a normal barrier, I would have already broken through it with a cup, but I don't know why. This time, he can't get through. This gate is completely different. Maybe the monsters inside are different too. 3 hours had passed. We see Jinwoo at the Hunter Association's gym, sparring with Barrow, just practicing, training so that whenever the gate opens and whatever monsters come out of it, Jinwoo can handle them in a fight. Then Jinchul calls, trying to update Jinwoo on the situation. But Jinwoo, hiding from Barrow, speaks in a low whisper, "Don't worry about it. I've got 300 ant soldiers with me. I'll put them to work and get everything sorted out." Now over here, we also see Thomas Andre. He cancels his plans to head back to America. His secretary says the Hunter Association members are getting worried, and they're calling him back urgently. Thomas says, "Worried about me? I don't think there's any place in this world safer than Jinwoo's country. Besides, I want to see whether this gate brings the end of humanity or a new beginning." After that, we see Jinwoo sitting on top of a building's rooftop. He's still searching for the Frost Monarch, the one who killed the chairman, but he still can't sense him anywhere. He thinks for now he should focus on this gate, but this time he's doubting himself, wondering whether he'll actually be able to clear this gate or not. He pulls out his phone and thinks, if this turns out to be his last mission, who should he call? Just then, he sees Hunter Cha's number and calls her. A little while later, we see Jinwoo and Hunter Cha at an amusement park. Now, since Jinwoo was so famous, everyone there had come just to see him, and they all assumed Hunter Cha was Jinwoo's girlfriend. Poor Jinwoo was thinking, with all the panic situations lately, crowds would be thinner at places like this. But there's still this many people here. Cha asks Jinwoo, "Do you actually like coming to places like this?" Jinwoo says, "It's not that. I just wanted to come here once in my life. Looking at the situation now, there's no telling if we'll ever get another chance like this in the future. So I figured, why not just fulfill this wish today?" Cha asks, "But why did you call me?" Jinwoo says, "Because you're my only friend." Cha looks at Jinwoo, confused. So Jinwoo reminds her, "Remember, you're the one who said that back in that double dungeon temple." Hearing that, Cha immediately gets embarrassed and says, "You heard that?" We can see all of Jinwoo's fans going crazy trying to get a photo with him, but Jinwoo's shadow soldiers were holding them back. Then Jinwoo and Chae go on a roller coaster ride together and explore all kinds of different activities. After that, the two of them head off for lunch. Jinwoo asks, "You're not getting bored, are you?" Chae says, "No, not at all. I'm having a great time." Jinwoo says, "But honestly, all these rides felt a bit slow and boring for S-rank hunters like us." "I agree. How about I take you on something way more interesting?" No, it's not what you're thinking. We can see Jinwoo and Cha riding on Kazel, flying through the heights of the sky, taking in a gorgeous sunset view. Cha absolutely loves this view too. She says, "When you can do stuff like this, why did we even need to go to an amusement park?" Jinwoo says, "There was a gate open at the amusement park. Through it, my dad disappeared forever, so I had to go there at least once in my life." Cha says, "Thank you. I never really got the chance to properly thank you. You've always been there helping me." And with that beautiful view, this episode comes to an end. Solo Leveling Season 4 Episode 2 starts, and we see the biggest S-rank gate ever opening in Korea. Even the gate Kamish came through. This one is way bigger than that. We can see all the hunters on high alert because of this gate, patrolling around. Just then, one of those hunters bumps right into the Beast Monarch. He has no idea who he is, so he starts yelling at him and says, "What's wrong with you? Can't you watch where you're going? Now say sorry." But he keeps running his mouth so much that the Beast Monarch literally just eats him. Seeing that, the rest of the hunters there completely freak out. They realize this is some kind of monster, and they try to fight back too. But the Beast Monarch just tears through every single hunter one by one. Over here, hunters were dropping one after another. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was out in the forest having fun, meaning he'd spent the whole night out in the woods with Hunter Chow. Jinwoo says to Cha, "Why don't we head to a hotel and grab some breakfast?" And then he takes her to a restaurant on Kazel's back. Meanwhile, we see Jinchul over here. The moment he finds out a monster is tearing through the streets of Korea, killing hunters left and right, he immediately tries to reach Jinwoo. But his call won't go through. Seriously, man. Why do you even keep your phone if you're just gonna wander around on Do Not Disturb? Anyway, we see that the Beast Monarch has already taken out a ton of hunters when that guy shows up. So he's like, "Get out of my way, let me fight." Meanwhile, we see Jinwoo is at the restaurant, and finally he picks up the call, that is. Jinchul immediately gives him all the details about that monster. Jinwoo asks, "How did this thing just come out of nowhere and start taking them all out one by one? And now Thomas Andre is fighting it." Jinwoo's thinking, how is this even possible? He's placed his shadow soldiers inside every hunter, and he told those shadow soldiers that if even the slightest incident happens, they need to report to him immediately. And here, this many hunters got killed, and Thomas is engaged in a fight, yet still, not a single shadow soldier has reported to him. Why? Jinwoo focuses and tries to sense those shadow soldiers, and he feels like something is deliberately blocking the signal between them. Jinwoo gets the idea that this could be the work of a monarch. He asks Jinchul, Does that monster have a shadow? Confirm it for me quickly. Over here, we see the beast monarch, who's already shifted into his beast form. Seeing him, even that German hunter gets scared. But Thomas says, "Don't just stand there, you guys. Go rescue the citizens. Leave this monster to me." He dodges, saves himself, and then lands a heavy punch right on its face, then grabs its head and slams it straight into the ground. Over here, we see that Jinchul and his guild members have also arrived because Seoul is in total chaos. In the next scene, we see Thomas throw a massive punch that sends the beast monarch tumbling straight down from the building. Thomas follows him down and is about to attack again, but the beast both hands held back, charging at Thomas at full speed. Thomas wonders what kind of attack this is, but then the beast monarch slams its head hard into Thomas's stomach, throwing off his balance, and before they arrive just in time for the equation. But the moment Jinwoo's eyes land on the beast monarch, his expression literally breaks. He thinks so. This is it, the magic beast we got the report about, which means the one going toe-to-toe with it is none other than Thomas Andre. We can see Thomas had already switched up his form and covered his entire body in armor just like he did in his fight with Jinwoo. Just then the monster starts moving past Jinwoo. Jinwoo thinks it's coming to fight him, so he starts to transform. But the moment the beast monarch gets close to him, his face literally drops. He can't even move a muscle. He doesn't even dare lift his head to look. He knows full well that if he raised his head, it'd be the last time that head was on his body. So he shifts back to his normal form, and the beast monarch just walks right past him to go fight Thomas. After that, the beast monarch uses his gravity magic, lifting up everything around him and hurling it at Thomas. But Thomas easily dodges all of it, and this time Thomas uses his own black hole magic, pulling the beast monarch straight toward him. The beast monarch gets confused and gets dragged in closer and closer. Thomas brings him in close, then slams a massive two-handed punch into him, driving him into the ground. Then he climbs on top of him and unleashes a barrage of punches. The beast monarch can't do anything at this point. But even though Thomas was winning the fight and he just kept raining down punch after punch, something still felt off to him, like something was slipping away. He was starting to doubt himself. Am I really winning here? Is this even enough to take down this beast? Still, he keeps throwing punches without stopping. Then suddenly, the beast monarch catches one of his punches and transforms into a whole new form. Now it's his turn. Even his hair had turned from black to white. He speaks up. "I never expected that you fragments of light pups could be this powerful. I've seen enough of your tricks. Now it's my turn." He asks, "Are you scared now?" He pulls Jinwoo's shadow soldier right out of Thomas and says, "You have no place here," and literally crushes it, killing it on the spot. Then the beast monarch grabs Thomas by the neck, lifts him up, and says, "Since you're feeling so confident, why don't we have a battle of strength between us?" With that, he's about to crush Thomas's head, but Thomas suddenly vanishes and reappears behind him, locking both arms around his neck, and he literally spins him a full 360 degrees. But even after all that, he's completely unharmed and he just smiles. Thomas is totally confused. He's thinking, how is this even possible? We see the beast monarch twist his own head back into place, fixing it. Then he grabs Thomas by the face, slams him hard into the ground and says, "All this fighting has made me hungry." And he literally looks like he's about to eat Thomas Andre. But just then, an attack hits him from behind. We see that the attack came from that S-rank hunter from Germany. He says, "As long as I'm here, you're not eating anyone." Sure, he says that, but looking at the beast monarch, even his legs are shaking. Meanwhile, Thomas is in such bad shape that he's literally writhing on the ground. He says, "Get out of here, or you'll die." That hunter says, "I know full well I can never beat him, but still, I'm a hunter." He thinks to himself, "I have no regrets in my life. If this is my final fight, then so be it. I'll give my life fighting, better than running away like a coward." But as the beast monarch slowly starts approaching him, his nerve starts to crack. He keeps telling himself over and over, "I made the right choice. I made the right choice." Until the beast monarch is suddenly right in front of him. That's when it hits him. No, I made the wrong choice. The beast monarch is just about to eat him when suddenly Jinwoo's dragon, Kazel, shows up, and it grabs the beast monarch in its jaws and flies off with him. The beast monarch cuts off Kazel's head and frees himself. Just then, Jinwoo drops down from above, about to kick him with his feet, but the beast monarch easily dodges out of the way. Jinwoo is furious. Jinwoo says to that German hunter, can you get Thomas somewhere safe? Meanwhile, the Beast Monarch shifts his form and now he looks like some kind of beast. He says, so it's true. I can sense the shadows inside you and tell what you are. Over here, Thomas Andre has finally reached a safe place. Jinwoo senses that this guy's bloodlust is way too intense. Meaning, in all his days, he's never seen that much bloodlust in any monster. And on top of that, he didn't come alone. Meaning, Jinwoo is sensing someone else besides him. If you're a human, how can you use the Shadow Monarch's power at this level? Just then, someone speaks from within the smoke. This is all happening because of some deal with the architect. He made a pact with the Shadow Monarch a long time ago. Then, from behind Jinwoo, the Insect Monarch appears and says, that means I can eat this human. I always wondered what another monarch would taste like. We can see that in front of Jinwoo. It's not just one, not two, but 3 monarchs have shown up. The Frost Monarch, the Beast Monarch, and the Insect Monarch. All 3 of them released their aura at once. And their magical energy was so strong it literally tore the sky apart. Jinwoo summons his Shadow Army too. Igris and Iron immediately attack the Frost Monarch, while Tank and Kaisel go after the Beast Monarch. The Beast Monarch says, so this is all your personal Shadow Army. Then the Frost Monarch creates a massive ice wall, trapping all the Shadow Soldiers inside it. All of them, Igris, Iron, and even Beru and Greed. The Frost Monarch says, all your Shadow Soldiers are way too weak. Inside this ice prison, they won't even be able to move. Did you really think your soldiers could stop us? We see that one of Jinwoo's arms has frozen over, but he easily breaks through the ice. Then he pulls out Kamish's dagger, the one Thomas gave him. Pointing it at the Frost Monarch, he says, I'm definitely killing you. After that, their fight finally begins. The Frost Monarch uses his power to summon a whole army of ice golems, and the Insect Monarch takes all the hunters the Beast Monarch killed, turning their dead bodies into an army of zombie monsters. They all attack Jinwoo at once. At this point, all of Jinwoo's Shadow Soldiers were trapped, so Jinwoo had to fight all the monsters alone, using his new dagger to easily take them down one after another. Meanwhile, the Frost Monarch kept creating ice golems one after another and sending them at Jinwoo, but Jinwoo kept defeating them all until, while Jinwoo was busy with all of them, the Frost Monarch suddenly attacked, but he said, if I had another piece of metal, you'd be done for. But while he was fighting the Beast Monarch, the Insect Monarch came from behind to attack him. Meanwhile, the Beast Monarch heals his arm in a second. Now, in front of Jinwoo stood an army of zombies and ice golems, plus 3 monarchs on top of that, and Jinwoo stood alone. His Shadow Soldiers were all still trapped. Then we see Beru finally breaking out of that ice prison. The moment Beru breaks out of the ice prison, he shouts, my king, and charges straight at the Insect Monarch. He yells, how dare you lay a hand on my king? Seeing Beru burst free from the ice prison, the Frost-level soldiers. One is Beru, and the other, Greed. The Beast Monarch speaks up. This human has commander-level soldiers? How is that possible? A single commander-level soldier is literally called a god of destruction. And over here, the insect, he literally said that exact thing. When I saw that, I couldn't hold back my laughter either. The Insect Monarch snaps, what did you just say, Beru? But Bear ignores her completely and heads straight to Jinwoo. He drops to his knees, starts crying and says, I'm sorry, my king. You had to fight those monsters all alone for so long, but you still easily defeated all of them. You're so powerful now. You're so great now. Beru just kept showering him with praise, throwing out these dramatic movie-style lines. Watching this, Jinwoo is stunned like, what is he even doing in the middle of a battlefield? Beru just kept on crying. Then, from behind, a bunch of zombie monsters come lunging in to attack. But before they can even get close to Jinwoo, Beru slices them all down in a second. Just then, the Insect Monarch grabs Jinwoo and flings him far away. Meanwhile, the Frost Monarch doesn't give Jinwoo a moment to recover. He rains down a barrage of ice spears on him. But Jinwoo dodges every single one with his dagger. Still, the Frost Monarch doesn't let up. He just keeps attacking Jinwoo with ice spears, non-stop. Then suddenly, a dagger pierces the Frost Monarch's heart. It's Jinwoo's surprise attack one the Frost Monarch never saw coming. Jinwoo says, I told you I wouldn't leave you alive. But the Frost Monarch pulls the dagger out and heals himself. Jinwoo thinks I stabbed him right in the heart and yet nothing happened to him. That means I can't beat him that easily. So Jinwoo goes on the attack again. But suddenly, the Beast Monarch appears from behind him and slashes his blade right across Jinwoo's back. That attack makes blood pour heavily from Jinwoo's mouth. Seeing Jinwoo in pain, Beru screams, "My king," and starts rushing toward him. But the insect monarch grabs him tight and won't let him go. The beast monarch puts his sword to Jinwoo's throat and says, "No one of you now, not even your aunt." Just then, Beru shouts out to all the soldiers, "This is no time to sleep. Get up and help your king." But the frost monarch says, "It's no use. You got plenty of gaps in your defense. You won't survive much longer." Jinwoo speaks up, "Are you talking about this injury?" And he heals it instantly. Seeing that, both the frost monarch and the beast monarch are stunned. Meanwhile, this fight is being live-streamed across the whole world. People from different countries are watching Jinwoo and cheering him on. We see Thomas in such bad shape that 2 or 3 healers are working on him together, and still, he can't get up. The other hunters standing around are wondering, is this the end of the world? Lu's also totally shocked watching Jinwoo fight. He thinks, "I knew Jinwoo was strong and that his power could keep growing. But reaching this level? I never even imagined it." Now, since all the high-rank soldiers were freed up, Jinwoo wasn't having as much trouble. Greed and the other soldiers were keeping themselves busy. Beru was handling the insect monarch all alone, and while Jinwoo was fighting the beast monarch, not far from there, Hunter Lim appears on top of a building. In case you don't remember, let me remind you. He's also an S-rank hunter who fights with a bow and arrow, meaning a long-range fighter. He was also on the Jeju Island raid. He was thinking, how long have I? You guys guess in the comments who that could be. Anyway, the battle was moving toward its end. We see the insect monarch has used poison on Jinwoo and paralyzed him, but Jinwoo heals that too right away. Then a notification pops up saying the insect monarch has died, and his level goes up to 146, meaning he gets even stronger. Seeing the insect monarch die, the frost monarch is in shock. He says, "How is this even possible? Is he using the shadow monarch's power at full potential?" Then the beast monarch says, "We don't need to fear him. He must already be worn out from his last battle. On top of that, he's relying on these small-time soldiers. That means his transformation is still incomplete." Saying that, the beast monarch grabs Beru by the throat and lifts him up, and starts attacking him. Literally, he's about to finish him off for good. Actually, the monarchs have the power to erase any shadow soldier completely. Jinwoo notices that Beru's life force is slowly fading away. For good. He immediately tries to cancel the summon, but he can't. So he has to rush over personally to save Beru. And he does manage to save him. Seeing this, the Frost Monarch says, "You're right, Beast Monarch. We have no reason to fear this human. He's only survived this long by relying on his Shadow Army. So we need to sever his connection to all his Shadow soldiers. That way, he won't be able to control them again." Then the Frost Monarch transforms into a new form, and he tells Jinwoo, "I'll trap your shadow soldiers in my dimension, and I'll keep killing and healing them over and over until all your mana runs out. Then the soldiers who've been helping you all along will be the ones to help defeat you." With that, he attacks Jinwoo and manages to injure him a bit, but Jinwoo counters too, though the Frost Monarch easily dodges. In this form, he was even faster than Jinwoo. After a long fight, Jinwoo's mana drops significantly. He doesn't even get the chance to use many of his skills. Then the Frost Monarch starts landing attack after attack on Jinwoo. Even though Jinwoo can clearly see those attacks coming, he just doesn't have the opening to dodge them all. All he can think is, if only I were just a little faster, I could win this easily. From the Frost Monarch's continuous attacks, Jinwoo gets badly hurt. Then the Frost Monarch decides to end Jinwoo with a final attack. Jinwoo gets ready too, and both of them strike with full strength. But suddenly, the Beast Monarch jumps in and shoves his hand straight through Jinwoo's chest. It all happens so fast that none of the hunters standing there even realize what happened. Jinwoo was now gravely wounded. He couldn't even move, and blood was flowing like a river. Jinwoo tries to pull the Beast Monarch's claw out, but right then, the Frost Monarch also drives his sword into Jinwoo's chest and says, "Can you still move yourself now?" Probably not. No matter how strong you are, you're still not a complete monarch. So for someone like you, surviving this injury is simply impossible. Then he says, "That means you won't live to see the end of this world. Now our army will descend upon this world and rivers of blood will flow. Mountains of corpses will be piled up. But this country, the one where you grew up, I'll personally freeze every single human in this country. I'll trap them all here for all eternity, and I'll torture them. They won't be able to live properly, nor will they be able to die. On his end, Jinwoo couldn't do anything even if he wanted to. He was taking his last breaths. He was thinking he just needed a little more time, and with that, Jinwoo breathes his last. Then, a notification pops up in his system. Player has died. Silence falls all around. All the hunters just stand there watching. Nobody had expected this. Just then, another notification appears in Jinwoo's system. The player's black heart has been activated. You have fulfilled all the requirements for this. And new, unknown skills start showing up in Jinwoo's system. That's not all. Those skills levels start maxing out, and he starts to glow. By now, the entire system design had changed too. Just then, Jinwoo's eyes open, and he sees that he's in a hospital. He sits up screaming, clutching his heart, and he thinks, how am I alive? Was this all just a bad dream? How did I even end up in a hospital? He still couldn't believe he was alive. Just then, Jinchul walks in and says, so you're finally awake. Jinwoo says, Chairman Jinchul, what am I doing here? And what happened to those 3 monarchs? Confused, Jinchul looks at Jinwoo and says, first of all, I'm not the chairman. I'm just the chief inspector of the surveillance team. And second, I came here to ask about those moving statues. And third, how do you know my name? We never even met before. Jinwoo is completely confused. See, he had time traveled to the past. Now, a pretty long story is about to unfold from here, which I'm going to cover in short, because I've still got the fight to cover. Basically, he realizes he's come back to the past. He sees that his level hasn't reset to 0, it's 146. Although at this moment, he doesn't have a single shadow soldier, which means he was now a national level hunter. It's just that nobody knew him. Jinwoo first goes to meet the chairman and asks for permission to raid Jeju Island alone, because at that time, Jeju Island hadn't been cleared yet. The chairman says, do you even know what you're asking permission for? Not a single raid on that island has ever succeeded. Then Jinwoo releases his aura and says, this is something only I can do. The chairman realizes this guy's power is many times greater than his own. How is that even possible? But he still gives him the permission. After that, Jinwoo goes through missions and dungeons one after another. Everything he did in the past, he does all over again. And since he was way stronger now, he clears every dungeon easily. And he keeps gathering his shadow soldiers one by one. Then he extracts Barras too. But in the middle of all this, Jinwoo keeps getting pestered by a notification from the system. It keeps asking, do you want to restart the world? Jinwoo's been ignoring it for a really long time. But now he gets annoyed and says, whoever you are, show yourself. I know this is some kind of illusion, and you're behind all of this. Then everything around him goes dark. A bunch of system notifications start flooding in all at once, and then someone starts walking toward Jinwoo. Seeing him, Jinwoo says, what? So you're the king of the dead. Actually, it was the real Shadow Monarch, whose name was Ashbourne. And Jinwoo realizes, how are you doing this? This world was built from your desire to fix your mistakes. In truth, I am you, and you are me. Jinwoo is completely confused, so the Shadow Monarch starts showing him the past. Meanwhile, back in the real world, we see that Jinwoo actually did die. Nobody could believe it. Thomas Andre wasn't ready to accept it either. Over there, Hunter Lim was watching everything from a building in the distance, and he says, I shouldn't have listened to that mysterious person back then. Now even Jinwoo is dead. We're the ones who have to stop this now. Otherwise, no one can save this world from destruction. And he aims his arrow at the Frost Monarch. But the Frost Monarch notices him from that distance and glares at him with rage. Hunter Lim is completely terrified. But then something happens there, something that shocks everyone. We see that the ice crystal Jinwoo was trapped inside. Black webs start spreading out from within it. Seeing this, the Frost Monarch's mind is literally blown. He says, no, this can't be happening. The Beast Monarch also says, we can't let this happen. We killed the fake king, but don't tell me the real king is coming now. We have to kill him no matter what. After that, both the Beast Monarch and the Frost Monarch attack Jinwoo together. But then, suddenly, a mysterious hunter appears there. The moment he arrives, he plants a kick right in the Frost Monarch's face, sending him flying, and with another kick, he sends the Frost Monarch flying too. They crash through countless buildings before finally tumbling to a stop far away. And we see that this person is none other than Jinwoo's father. He says, as long as I'm here, no one lays a hand on my son. In this scene, people literally had goosebumps. Meanwhile, Ashbourne is telling Jinwoo about the rulers and the monarch's history. A long, long time ago, there was nothing but light and darkness. Back then, there was a god called the Absolute Being. He was bored fighting all by himself. So he thought, why not create something for entertainment? He used light to create some soldiers who were named the rulers. And from darkness, he created some soldiers who were named the Monarchs. Now, each of the two parties was given an order. The Monarchs were told, go and destroy the world. And the rulers were told, go and protect the world. So basically, one saves and the other kills. Now, an endless war rages between them for a very long time. Neither side is winning, and neither side is losing. Tons of soldiers are dying on both sides. But the Absolute Being doesn't care at all. All he wants is his entertainment. After a while, the rulers get tired of this endless war, and they decide to ask their god, the Absolute Being, for help. They go to him and say, you are God, and we are fighting for what's right. So please, help us. So many of your faithful soldiers are dying in this war. Give us more strength and power, so we can all join together and defeat the Monarchs and lay their heads at your feet. Guess what the Absolute Being says? He literally says nothing. In that moment, all the rulers realize that their true enemy isn't the monarch, it's their own god. And unless they kill the Absolute Being, this war will never end. So the rulers decide to kill their god. But one ruler among them opposes this decision. He was loyal to his god. He was also their leader and the strongest of them all. And that was none other than our Ashbourne. So Ashbourne has to fight all the rulers. But all the rulers together manage to defeat Ashbourne. He doesn't die, but they leave him in a dying state and go off to kill the Absolute Being. But here comes a twist. Because Ashbourne was the Absolute Being's loyal soldier, the Absolute Being had hidden a secret power inside him. That power only activated the moment he was about to die. That power was Arise, meaning he could bring any dead soldier back to life. The second he said, Arise, every soldier who had fallen in the war around him came back to life all at once, and they all became part of his Shadow Army. Then he went with his army to stop the rulers. But by then, it was already too late. All the rulers had joined forces and killed the Absolute Being, and they started calling themselves the new god. Not only that, they started using all of the Absolute Being's magical tools too, and they began defeating the Monarchs. The rulers even took the King of Giants, Antara, as prisoner. He was one of the strongest monarchs. After he got captured, the Monarchs became seriously weakened. That's when Ashbourne decided he'd fight on the Monarch side and get his revenge on the rulers. The Monarchs had no choice, so they joined hands with Ashbourne. After that, their battle began, and the endless war dragged on for many more years. The only difference was that Ashbourne, who had been the strongest soldier on the ruler's side, was now fighting on the Monarch's side. And in this war, every soldier who died on either side, Ashbourne kept adding them to his Shadow Soldier army. So after a while, Ashbourne grew so strong that even the Monarchs started fearing him. Two of them, the Demon King Baron and the Beast Monarch, both made a plan to kill Ashbourne. They combined their armies and went to fight him. In that fight, a lot of Ashbourne's shadow soldiers died, but in the end, Ashbourne won. He killed the Demon King, but the Beast Monarch escaped from there. Just as the war was ending, the rulers showed up with their entire army. And because that fight had gone on for so long, Ashbourne was exhausted and had grown weak. If a fight had broken out at that moment, he might have lost. But this time, the rulers didn't come to fight. They came and bowed their heads, begging Ashbourne for forgiveness and asking him to end this endless war. Ashbourne said in anger, "If you want to end this war, you'll have to kill me." But even then, the rulers kept respecting him and kept apologizing. Ashbourne knew very well that if the rulers wanted to, they could have easily killed him at that moment. But even then, they didn't do it. Ashbourne gets confused. He can't figure out what to do. So he goes and hides in another dimension, because he needed time to recover too. At this moment, Ashbourne is telling all this to Jinwoo, wearing different people's faces. Jinwoo knew Ashbourne's plan was that once he fully recovered, he'd find the Beast Monarch, kill him, and settle things with him. After that, he'd join hands with the rulers. Then, much later, when the Shadow Monarch recovers and comes looking for the Beast Monarch, he finds out that by then the rulers had already taken out almost all the monarchists. They'd beaten them so badly that they fled by changing dimensions entirely. So Ashbourne tracks them down and goes with him to the new dimension. There, he comes face to face with the strongest monarch of that time, the Dragon King, the Monarch of Destruction. He already knew why Ashbourne had come there, But he doesn't fight Ashbourne. He says, "We'll work together," because he knew Ashbourne was incredibly strong. And also, at that moment, all the Monarchs were really weak. They needed time to heal too. Now, as you know, the Monarchs were created for destruction. Their whole job was to destroy world. And since they'd been driven out of their own world, they were going to go somewhere and cause destruction anyway. So they chose Earth as their next target. Now, humans stood no chance against the Monarchs, because back then, there were no hunters at all, just normal humans. Now, news of the Monarchs planning to attack Earth reaches the rulers. So the rulers send an army too, to defend Earth. But no matter the outcome of the battle, humans died every single time. All of them. So then the rulers use a tool created by the Absolute Being, the Cup of Reincarnation. This tool could rewind time by 10 years. The rulers use it, and they think that this time save humanity. But the war happens again, and again all of humanity gets wiped out. They use the tool again. War happens again, but same result, humanity just can't survive. This keeps happening over and over, whether the rulers win or the Monarchs. Humanity gets erased every time. Now, this tool had its limits too. It couldn't be used unlimited times. So the rulers decide that if they can't save all of humanity, so they decide to at least save a few people. They introduce some humans to mana, and that's how hunters are born. Okay, so hunters exist now, but how are they supposed to know what to hunt? They had no idea what was coming 10 years down the line, or how to even use their power. They keep getting stronger in preparation for the coming war, and at the same time, the rulers pick certain humans to be their vessels. That way they can live inside them and, in the coming war, take down the Monarchs. These chosen ones are called the Fragments of Brilliant Light. Ashbourne wanted to do the exact same thing, but he was so insanely strong that he just couldn't find a single human vessel, no one who could contain his power. That's when he comes across a maze. The architect, that's what he's called, says he'll find the perfect vessel for Ashbourne, but in return, he asks for one wish, to become immortal. Ashbourne says he needs a vessel who stared death in the face over and over again, someone who's been through death's door repeatedly, and that's exactly who Jinwoo is. And finally, Jinwoo gets the answer to every question he's ever had. Ashbourne asks him, "Now tell me, do you want to stay in this world, control everything on your own terms, or go back to the real world and fight?" Jinwoo answers, "I shouldn't be here. This place isn't for me." Ashbourne looks at him and smiles, then starts to leave. Jinwoo asks, "So, is this goodbye? Can we never meet again?" Ashbourne says, "I'm heading to my eternal rest now. From today, the Shadow Monarch isn't me, it's you. So us meeting again, that's just not possible." Then Ashbourne reveals his true form and says, "Through death, you've become stronger than ever before, and the time has come for you to go back." And before he leaves, he says, "I am you." And with those words, he's gone. Right then, notifications start flooding Jinwoo's system. This system is about to be deleted. All power limits on the player have been removed. Power limits on commander-level soldiers have been removed too. Now they can fight at full strength. Then one final notification pops up. "Do you wish to permanently delete this system?" And Jinwoo hits yes. The scene cuts to the Frost Monarch and the Beast Monarch who are fighting Jinwoo's father. The Frost Monarch shouts in rage, "Do you even know who you're protecting? He's not your son anymore. Are you really going to let the Shadow Monarch be reborn? You're a fragment of light too. You know how strong he is. He betrayed you as well. And you're the one protecting him? Do you want to watch this world get destroyed by your own hands?" But Jinwoo's father ignores him and pulls out his dagger. The Frost Monarch says they don't have time and both of them attack together, but Jinwoo's father handles him pretty easily. The Frost Monarch thinks this isn't going to work. He's about to use ice breathing, but Mr. Hwang kicks him straight in the face, sending him flying backward. Just then, the Beast Monarch comes up from behind and is about to take a bite out of him, but Mr. Hwang shoves his dagger right into his face. The Beast Monarch screams in pain and says, "You bastard, I won't leave you alive." But then the Beast Monarch feels a familiar aura. His pressure alone makes him drop to the ground, and he literally starts sweating buckets. He sees the crystal Jinwoo was in starting to crack, and an incredibly strong aura is being released from it. Meanwhile, the Frost Monarch pulls himself together and tells the Beast Monarch, "Help me. We have to finish this human quickly and stop the Shadow Monarch from reviving at all costs." But at this point, the Beast Monarch is so terrified that he literally says, "I give up. I'm not fighting. I'm out of here." The Frost Monarch says in disbelief, "Have you lost your mind? We're this close, and you're running away with your tail between your legs?" You promised you'd help me kill the Shadow Monarch. The Beast Monarch replies, can't you feel his aura? No one can stop the Shadow Monarch from reviving now. You've never fought him, so you have no idea how strong he is. And about that promise, I only agreed to fight the Shadow Monarch's human vessel. But now the real Shadow Monarch is coming, so there's no way I'm fighting him. And with that, he bolts out of there. The Frost Monarch thinks, seriously? I never thought you'd be this cowardly. Then he shifts into his true form and declares, I'll take all of you down by myself. He starts freezing everything around him. The whole city's people are getting frozen. Then he unleashes his strongest attack. He's about to drop a massive ice crystal from the sky, so huge that if it lands, the entire city would be wiped out. Mr. Hwang tries to block that attack, but in reality, a bunch of ice spears are also raining down and one of them cuts off his arm. Now, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't stop that ice crystal. But just then, something shadow-like shoots past them and flies straight up into the sky, and it slams directly into that ice crystal, shattering it into pieces. It was actually Beru who had reached his full potential, just like Jinwoo's notification had mentioned. Meanwhile, to save Mr. Hwang, Igris appears right in front of him. He had unlocked his full power too. The Frost Monarch is stunned seeing all of this. He wonders how his spell could have been broken. He realizes that all the commander-level soldiers have unlocked their full power, which could only mean one thing. Right then, we see Jinwoo finally break through that ice crystal and step out. Beru and Igris bow their heads before their king. Jinwoo says, so the Beast Monarch ran away from here. How dare he leave without my permission? The Frost Monarch was literally terrified. He understands that the power difference between the two of them is like heaven and earth. Meanwhile, Jinwoo activates his domain and starts searching for the Beast Monarch. He scans the entire earth with that domain and finds the Beast Monarch. But while he was busy tracking down the Beast Monarch, the Frost Monarch sees that Jinwoo is distracted. There wouldn't be a better chance than this. He knew the power gap between them was way too huge. So he decides to go for a full attack, because if he didn't attack, he was as good as dead. He uses his full power and strikes with his weapon. But Jinwoo, without even looking at him, just casually waves his hand and his weapon shatters into pieces, like he was just a toy. The Frost Monarch finally understands why the Beast Monarch ran away. He thinks, so this is the Shadow Monarch's full power. Then Jinwoo speaks to the Frost Monarch, I'll ask you one last time. You'll wait here quietly until I come back after killing the Beast Monarch. I mean, bro, who makes deals like that? Meanwhile, we see the Beast Monarch who had fled and hidden in a forest. He was thinking he should just lie low until the Dragon King comes back. But then Jinwoo appears right beside him. At that moment, he realized his death was certain. But then he quickly drops to the ground and starts begging for forgiveness. If you forgive me, I'll fight on your side in the future. And I'll hand over my entire Beast Army to you as well. Jinwoo says, fine. The Beast Monarch never imagined Jinwoo would actually agree to his terms. But he thinks to himself, this can't be the real Shadow Monarch. The real Shadow Monarch would never forgive me. I was scared for nothing. Then Jinwoo says, we can work together, but first you have an old debt to settle. You left 5 claw marks on my heart, so I'll hit you 5 times too. If you survive that, I'll forgive you. Hearing that, the Beast Monarch's heart drops. He gets furious and says, how dare you humiliate me like that? And he lunges at Jinwoo to attack. But within a second, Jinwoo slices off one of his arms and says, 4 more to go. Meanwhile, we see the Frost Monarch fighting Igris. He says, don't make the mistake of underestimating me. I may be weak right now, but I can still easily defeat you. He's still mid-sentence when Jinwoo shows up. He tosses the Beast Monarch's severed fang in front of him and says, the Beast Monarch is dead. The Frost Monarch thinks, I knew he was strong, but he killed the Beast Monarch and came back this fast? What kind of beast is this Shadow Monarch anyway? Jinwoo says, the deaths of you 3 monarchs will serve as a warning message for the remaining monarchs. Hearing that, the Frost Monarch gets angry. What do you mean 3 monarchs? I'm still alive. He's saying that when he uses ice breathing to try and freeze everything. But Jinwoo covers his mouth with his hand and drives another dagger straight into his heart. And just like that, the Frost Monarch dies too. After the Frost Monarch's death, Jinwoo asks Beru about the human who was protecting him, meaning Mr. Hwang, that is, his father. Jinwoo sees his sword lying there, so he walks over and looks more closely. There are a lot of bloodstains too. Following those blood trails, Jinwoo reaches his dad. Mr. Hwang's condition was really bad. He was severely injured. He was thinking, So this is what happens when you use a god's power in a human body. Just then, Jinwoo arrives and says, "Are you going to leave us again without saying anything, Dad?" After that, we're shown a flashback from Mr. Hwang's side of what actually happened that day. Mr. Hwang had gone to clear a dungeon, and he'd even taken down that dungeon's boss. Now, as you know, whenever a dungeon's boss dies, the gate to that dungeon closes after an hour. But Mr. Hwang couldn't get out through that gate, and the gate shut forever. After that, Mr. Hwang got trapped in another dimension. That's when some rulers showed up and gave him their power. Meaning they chose him as their vessel. In return, they gave him an order. You have to stop all the monarchs, including the Shadow Monarch who's about to be born on Earth very soon. At that time, Mr. Hwang absolutely had to stay out of that dungeon, so he accepted the ruler's offer. But the moment he found out that the Shadow Monarch was none other than his own son, Jinwoo, he had no idea what he was supposed to do. He knew the Shadow Monarch could become a huge threat to Earth down the line, but still, he couldn't do anything except watch from afar. Then one day, the rulers gave him new orders, not to kill the Shadow Monarch, but to protect him. They'd realized that if they wanted to defeat the other monarchs, the Shadow Monarch had to stay alive. Then the scene shifts back to the present. Mr. Hwang says, "That's why I was protecting you in this fight. I didn't want you to see this side of me. That's why I couldn't bring myself to face you all these days." Just then, a third wave starts there. Jinwoo says softly, "Dad," and tears start falling from his eyes. Mr. Hwang asks, "Did you miss me?" Jinwoo says, "Yeah." Sometimes Mr. Hwang says, "I am really sorry." Jinwoo says, "When I first became a hunter, so many times I barely escaped death. Back then I'd think of you, and I'd hate it so much when that happened." Hearing that, Jinwoo's dad gets sad, and then Jinwoo says, "But I also missed you a lot. Did you miss me too?" Hearing that, Jinwoo's dad is a bit shocked and tears start welling up in his eyes too. He says, "Is that even something you need to ask? I missed all of you every single day. You might not have been able to see me, but I was always watching you from afar." We can see Mr. Hwang's body slowly breaking apart because he'd used the ruler's power way beyond his limit. Just then, he stands up and hugs Jinwoo tightly. Jinwoo breaks down crying too and says, "This is all the ruler's fault. They used you and then just left you to die." Mr. Hwang says, "No, that's not true at all. Actually, they gave me the option to protect you, and I chose to accept it, and now I have no regrets." After that, his body slowly starts to fade away. He says, "I always wanted to talk to you. I wanted to be by your side. I am sorry I couldn't be a good father." The moment he says that, his body turns into fragments of light and disappears completely, and he dies. Jinwoo is completely shattered. Even though he won this fight, it felt like he'd lost everything. After that, we see a bunch of ambulances there, taking the injured hunters to the hospital. Jinwoo also heads back home. At home, his mom and sister both grab him and start crying. Meanwhile, we see Jinchul, who remembers what Jinwoo said, that he would definitely avenge the chairman. He silently says thank you to Jinwoo. All the hunters are celebrating after this fight, because at one point, it really seemed like humanity wouldn't survive. But somehow, Jinwoo still managed to win this fight. Everyone just wanted to rest in peace, but they had no idea the real trouble was still coming. Remember that S-rank gate we saw open in Korea before all this fighting? Its dungeon break now has only 2 days left, and nobody had any idea what kind of monsters were going to come out of it. And finally, the day of the dungeon break arrives. Now we see hunters from all over the world gathered together waiting under that gate for it to open. China's 7-star hunter is there too, and Thomas Andre is there, of course. Jinwoo stands at the very front, with Hunter Cha by his side. She says, "I've never seen you this nervous before," and it's not just Jinwoo, all the hunters there are nervous. And then, the gate begins to open. All the hunters get ready to fight together. They see that coming out of that gate. Not 1 or 2, but an entire army. Seeing that, everyone's eyes go wide. But then Jinwoo notices that all these monsters look like his Shadow Monarch soldiers, but he doesn't recognize any of them. Just then, from behind, all the hunters get attacked. They get the order, and everyone pulls out their weapons, ready to attack. But just then, Jinwoo shouts out, telling them nobody moves from their spot. Everyone's confused and starts asking what's going on. Why are you stopping us? Jinchul also asks why he gave the order for everyone to stand down. Jinwoo says, "Calm down. It's all good. Those guys aren't going to do anything." With that, Jinwoo starts walking toward them. But all the hunters get even more confused. They're thinking, is Hunter Jinwoo really planning to fight all these monsters alone? Just then, one of the monsters, their leader, steps forward in front of Jinwoo and bows his head, saying, "My king, I am Grand Marshal Bellion, and from today, we all will fight for you." Seeing this, all the hunters' eyes stay wide open in shock. They can't believe what's happening right now. Thomas Andre is completely confused too. Jinwoo realizes this is the real Shadow Army that once fought alongside Ashbourne. And now, because Jinwoo had fully become the Shadow Monarch, all these shadow soldiers had returned to him. Now the scene changes. A few days later, we find out Jinwoo had suddenly disappeared after that day. The Hunter Association is having a huge debate about it. Everyone wanted to interview Jinwoo and ask about those shadow soldiers, but there was no trace of Jinwoo anywhere. Then the scene shifts to Jinwoo, who was with his new Shadow Army. He had divided them all into two groups and was having them fight each other. Basically, some kind of military training was going on. Now, since Bellion had become Jinwoo's strongest soldier, he was always by Jinwoo's side. Baru can't stomach that, because before, he was always the one standing next to Jinwoo, so he goes and challenges Bellion. Up until now, he was the highest-ranking commander in Jinwoo's Shadow Army, but Bellion's rank is Grand Marshal, which is even higher than that. Just then, Baru says, "Whoever wins between us gets the Grand Marshal title." Bellion accepts his challenge. Then the two face each other and get ready to fight. Bellion draws his sword. Jinwoo thinks, so he uses a sword just like Igris. But his sword is way bigger in size, so he must be powerful. But in terms of speed, Baru's definitely going to win. Just then, Baru charges at Bellion at tremendous speed. But Bellion strikes with his sword, and it turns out the blade can stretch, whipping around like a chain as he attacks. His attack is so powerful that with a single slash, Baru goes down, crashing to the ground. Watching that, Jinwoo is completely shocked. It was over the second it started. At the same time, though, Jinwoo is seriously impressed. He thinks, one single attack from this guy is strong enough to wipe out all of Earth. So this is the power of a Grand Marshal. Now the scene shifts to China's 7-star hunter, Liu. He's already back in China. A swarm of reporters surround him, firing off questions. Because the whole world is still confused about what really happened that day. But the moment Liu steps out of the airport, he sees a massive S-ring gate has opened up in China's sky. Then the scene shifts to the Monarch of Destruction, the Dragon King. He says, "So the Shadow Monarch has betrayed us this time. Perfect. This time I'll fight him myself. None of you need to do anything." And he tells his dragon army to get ready for battle. Meanwhile, we see Baru again, challenging Bellion over and over, and losing every single time. By now, he's lost 100 times. Still, he refuses to give up and challenges him again. Jinwoo asks, "Why are you so desperate for the Grand Marshal position anyway?" Baru says, "If I become Grand Marshal, I can stand by your side too." Jinwoo says, "That's all? What's the big deal? Bellion stands on the right side, so you can stand on the left." Hearing that, Baru is overjoyed and says, "My king is so kind now." Just then, Igris walks over from the side and says, "I also challenge for the Grand Marshal title." He barely gets the words out before Jinwoo cuts him off. "You can stand behind me." Seeing all this, the rest of the soldiers are like, "What kind of giveaway is this?" Then Jinwoo notices the new shadow soldiers that just arrived. Some of them are dragons, and they're having a fire-breathing competition among themselves. They're blasting fire into the sky. Tusk is there with them too. Tusk shows off his own fire attack, which was way more powerful than any of those dragons. Basically, he's totally flexing in front of those new shadow soldiers. All those poor dragons are left completely speechless. All the soldiers start cheering Tusk on. Jinwoo's just thinking, that's not even cheating. He's got magic and everything. Now the scene shifts to Jinwoo at home, where he's cooking a meal for his family and serving it to them. Everyone finds Jinwoo's cooking absolutely delicious. Gina says, "I had no idea you could cook this well, big bro." Jinwoo was spending time with his family, but in his mind, he knew it was time to tell the whole world the truth about the monarchs and the rulers, and about the Dragon King's army that's coming. "I can't protect everyone all by myself." Just then, his mom comes up from behind and says, "You're not planning to do something dangerous, are you?" Whenever your father was about to do something dangerous, he'd always cook for us first. Jinwoo says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything like that." Just then, someone knocks at the gate. Jinwoo goes to check, and it's his father. He says, "Sorry for showing up so suddenly, but can I talk to you for a bit?" So the two of them head to a nearby park. Basically, he'd figured out that Jinwoo had saved him from that eternal sleep disease that day. That's why he'd come to say thank you. He asks, why did you do it in the end? Jinwoo says, I felt like you were a trustworthy person, and Jinwoo really loves you too. He says, well, if that's the case, then please let me return the favor. Whatever you need, I'm ready to give it. Jinwoo says, I don't need anything. I just want one thing. If something ever happens to me in the future, please take care of my family. Jinwoo's father says, yes, of course, I promise. After that, we see Jinchul, who's telling Jinwoo about that S-rank gate in China. He says this gate isn't just in China, it's opened in 8 different countries across the whole world, and they all opened at the exact same time. Jinchul asks, are your shadow soldiers going to come out of these two? Jinwoo says no, this time only monsters will come out. Just then, Jinwoo suddenly asks the chairman, do you trust me? Jinchul says, yes, of course. So Jinwoo walks up to him and says, I'm about to show you something. Trust me on that too. And Jinwoo starts showing Jinchul the entire past. How the monarchs and rulers came. How this world has been destroyed many times before. But because of the cup of reincarnation, we're still alive. And what Jinwoo's true identity really is. After seeing all of that, Jinchul's mind is completely blown. He says, this can't be happening. All of this is impossible. So does that mean all of humanity is going to die in this war except for us hunters? He's totally shaken by all of it. He turns to Jinwoo and says, how is this even possible? And you're going to fight all these monarchs alone. Jinwoo says, yeah. And after that, the scene shifts to a big conference room, where presidents, prime ministers, and guildmasters from more than 100 countries have all gathered together. Everyone's confused about why they were called here. Then Jinwoo steps onto the stage and warns them all about the coming fight. But some people say, how can we just believe everything you're telling us? Besides, we have national level hunters who can handle any monster out there. Jinwoo says, in this war, thousands of dragons are coming, and they'll be even stronger than Kamish. So even national level hunters won't be able to do much against them. Everyone says, at least give us some proof, otherwise how can we believe you? Then Jinwoo opens 8 dungeon gates right there in the conference hall. Seeing that, everyone's blood runs cold. Jinwoo says our enemies can open gates just like this whenever and wherever they want. They haven't attacked yet because their army is so massive it's taking time to bring it all together. After that, everyone finally believes Jinwoo. But they all ask, if what you're saying is true, then how can we survive these monsters? What are we supposed to do? Jinwoo says, you can't escape them. So all of you should get as far away from these gates as possible. And with that, the meeting comes to an end. Now Jinwoo returns to his Shadow Army, where they're all doing military training. Jinwoo asks Bellion, just how big is the Dragon Monarch's army? Bellion says, I don't know exactly, but it's about 100 times the size of our Shadow Army. Hearing that, Jinwoo falls into thought. That means he has around 10 million soldiers. If it comes to an all-out war between his soldiers and theirs, his soldiers don't stand a chance. Then Jinwoo notices that Baru had built a castle for him. Actually, Jinwoo's soldiers had been training here for a long time, so Jinwoo would come and go from this place all the time. That's why Baru built a castle for him. Jinwoo calls Barab over and says, so all of this is your work. It looks impressive, but it's definitely not fit for living in. Baru immediately drops his head and starts apologizing. Jinwoo says, that's fine, but why'd you put a flag on it? Just then Bellion shows up and he also bows his head and starts apologizing. Jinwoo says, oh, so this was your idea. So first there was one troublemaker, now there are 2. Now the scene shifts to Canada, where some S-rank hunters don't take Jinwoo's warning seriously. They say Jinwoo just wants to take all the credit for himself. So they decide that when the gate opens, they'll go fight on their own. We see Jinchul telling all this to Jinwoo, and then he asks, what are you gonna do about them? Jinwoo says, for now, I'm heading to China first. I can't be at all 8 gates at once by myself. So first I'll go to the nearest country, which is China. Because if something happens there, Korea gets affected too. Jinwoo thinks to himself, the longer this battle drags on, the better our chances of winning. Then Jinwoo catches a flight and heads to China. China's 7-star hunter Liu is waiting for him at the airport, and he welcomes Jinwoo. Liu takes Jinwoo to the S-rank gate. There, almost all of China's hunters have gathered together, because the dungeon could break at any moment. Liu is flexing his Chinese hunter army and praising them. But Jinwoo summons his shadow army too. Seeing his shadow army, Lu's eyes stay wide open in shock. He asks, "Are all of these your summons?" Just then, Bearer speaks up from behind him. "Our king told me to stay on the left side. How dare you take my spot?" Jinwoo hits him with his elbow and says, "Hey, shut up, you fool. He's on our side." Just then, we see that gate finally starting to open. Everyone gets ready for the fight, but Bellion notices something and tells Jinwoo, "I don't think there's anyone in this gate," meaning the gate opened, but it was an empty gate. There was no monster in it. Jinwoo wonders how that's possible. He quickly says, "Check the other locations too. What's going on there?" Bellion reports, "According to our shadow soldiers, there's no movement there either. Same situation everywhere. Empty gates." Just then it all clicks for Jinwoo and he thinks, "This is my fault. All this time I thought the Dragon King was opening 8 gates to split up his army and send them through. But he didn't do that to divide his army. No, he did it to split up the humans and the Shadow Monarch's army, and they'd walked right into his trap." Jinwoo realizes the Dragon King is bringing his whole army through just one of those gates, and the rest are nothing but distractions. Meanwhile, we cut to the gate in Canada, where those S-rank hunters are stationed. Jinwoo's gate opens too, but out of it steps a monster that looks just like a human. All the hunters are stunned. They thought Jinwoo had said dragons were coming. They're like, "What kind of joke is this?" The group's leader thinks this thing is speaking human language, so humans and beasts can actually talk to each other. Is this how Jinwoo got his first shadow soldier? It can't be that simple. I just have to say I'm the king and this thing will become my slave. Wait. Just then, Jinwoo remembers Adam is in Canada too. He calls him up and asks about the situation, but Adam's right there by the gate as well. Jinwoo says, "What are you doing there?" Adam replies, "We couldn't just sit around and watch the show from afar, so our Hunter Association sent all their agents here to fight too." Jinwoo says, "Forget all that, tell me, is the gate there empty too?" Adam says, "Yeah, so far not a single monster has come out." Jinwoo says, "All right then," and is just about to hang up when Adam suddenly says, "Hold on, someone's coming out of the dungeon. It's just a human." Jinwoo shouts, "What? A human? Adam, get out of there as fast as you can." Then we see it all, those S-rank hunters at the front. The Dragon King incinerates every single one of them to ash in a second. Adam's telling Jinwoo all of this, but Jinwoo says, "Forget all that, you don't have any time right now. Run, get out of there now." But Adam can't move, even though he wants to. It's like his legs have frozen solid. He says, "There are countless dragons in the sky now. How can this many monsters show up at once?" At that moment, he was so terrified he couldn't even budge. Jinwoo kept yelling at him over the call to run, but Adam just wasn't hearing it. So Jinwoo decides, "I can't save everyone, but at least I'm saving Adam," the shadow soldier inside Adam. He steps outside and grabs Adam's hand, ready to teleport him out, but just his. But if he did that, it would trigger a full-out war between the two armies, which Jinwoo absolutely did not want, because the Dragon Monarch's army outnumbered Jinwoo's 100 to 1. So at that point, Jinwoo didn't have many options left. Meanwhile, the Dragon King's army is burning every hunter in Canada to death one after another. We see that the Dragon King isn't alone. He's got 2 other monarchs with him. Meanwhile, we see Michael, who's watching Canada's destruction on his TV, and he's completely wasted on alcohol. In case you didn't know, Canada and America are right next to each other, like India and Pakistan. So America wasn't safe anymore. Either Michael had already accepted that he was going to die, because every hunter he'd sent over had been killed, and Thomas Andre wasn't in America right now either. So there was no one left to save America. He's regretting that he should have listened to Jinwoo. Jinwoo had said at the conference to stay as far away from the gates as possible, but he didn't listen and sent all the hunters there anyway. He's thinking all this when suddenly Jinwoo shows up. Seeing Jinwoo out of nowhere, Michael is stunned, he thinks. I must be seeing things. Actually, Jinwoo had come there to get Kamish's runestone, which was going to help him a lot in the upcoming fight. As you know, these runestones come from a monster's body, and the rulers used to send those monsters to train humans for the coming war. So these runestones weren't naturally inside the monsters. No, the rulers placed them inside so the hunters could get even stronger. And the stronger the monster, the more powerful its runestone. And since Kamish was the most powerful monster ever, his runestone was incredibly powerful too, and was going to be a huge help for Jinwoo. After that, Jinwoo takes the runestone and leaves from there. Meanwhile, hunters from all over the world have formed an alliance from Korea, Japan, Germany, China. Hunter Liu and Thomas Andre too. They're all boarding planes together heading for Canada. Meanwhile, we see Canada, which is completely destroyed, and standing in the middle of it all is the Dragon King. He's waiting for the Shadow Monarch, Jinwoo, but he didn't expect Jinwoo to actually come fight him because he knew his army was massive. So even if Jinwoo did come to fight him head-on, it would be practically suicide. He was thinking all this when suddenly a missile slammed into him, and then missile after missile started raining down on him, causing a massive explosion right there. We see that the army had arrived and they were dropping missiles from the sky. The general says, "We've hit the target. There's no way he survived that attack." But little did they know, that guy was the Monarch of Destruction. None of this meant anything to him. The army was waiting for the smoke to clear, so they could confirm whether the target was completely destroyed or not. But then, out of that smoke, the massive silhouette of a dragon appeared, and that dragon said, "Now it's my turn." After that, the scene shifts to the castle Baru had built, where Jinwoo was sitting inside. Belian, Igris, and Baru were there too. Jinwoo was planning the fight against the Dragon King, but Belian and Igris were saying this plan was too dangerous. We're severely outnumbered. But Jinwoo says, "I know you guys are worried about me, but at a time like this, we have to do what's necessary." Jinwoo asks Belian, "If Ashbourne were in my place, what would he do?" Belian says, "To do whatever was most necessary at that moment, no matter how dangerous that task was." Jinwoo says, "All right then, it's decided." After that, Belian, Igris, and Baru get ready too and say, "Whatever you command, my king, we're with you till the end." Then Jinwoo and his army set out to fight the Dragon King. Just then, Jinwoo pulls out his phone and looks at it. So Belian asks, "Won't you talk to your family before you leave?" Jinwoo says, "No. If I do that right now, I'll lose my resolve and won't be able to move forward." With that, Jinwoo smashes his phone to pieces and mentally prepares himself for this war. Now we see the scene in Canada again, where that dragon is burning all the army planes one by one. All the pilots start bailing out of their planes. But that dragon doesn't let up even then, and starts picking them off one by one. One of the pilots manages to escape and hide, but that dragon, after killing the other pilots, finds him too. That pilot, trying to save himself, grabs a gun and starts firing at it. He empties the entire magazine, but it doesn't do a thing to that dragon. Then that dragon's about to attack him. That pilot was literally scared out of his mind. He couldn't even move. He was just frozen in place. But suddenly, that dragon's head gets sliced clean off, and we see that Jinwoo had arrived there. He's holding Kamish's dagger in both hands. Jinwoo tells that pilot to get out of there immediately. Just then, a few more dragons show up, and they attack Jinwoo. But Jinwoo doesn't even need a second. He cuts them all down. Then he says, "Arise to all those dead dragons," and adds them to his Shadow Army. So yeah, this war had officially started now. Meanwhile, the Dragon King finds out that the Shadow Monarch has arrived on the battlefield. The other monarchs say they should attack right away with their full force, but they sense that Jinwoo came without his entire Shadow Army, meaning there wasn't a single Shadow soldier inside him. He had come completely alone. The Dragon King starts thinking, could he be planning to defeat our entire army all by himself and add them to his Shadow Army? Even if Jinwoo does that, we still have way more numbers. Meanwhile, Jinwoo really was defeating those monsters' army and adding them to his Shadow Army one after another. Slowly, his new Shadow Army was taking shape, and the whole B. Not yet, but he still wasn't coming out in front. Jinwoo thinks, "This is good for me. The more time I get, the better." Then Jinwoo tells his new Shadow soldiers to attack, so the dragons in Jinwoo's Shadow Army start firing off fire blasts. Just then, one dragon who's the leader of that group speaks up. "How dare you, you pathetic creatures made from mana, try to stop the Dragon Monarch's army." He's still yapping away when Jinwoo suddenly appears behind him and says, "You talk too much." And before he can even react, Jinwoo slices his throat open. Meanwhile, the Dragon King realizes that the Shadow Monarch is getting stronger with every minute, so we need to stop him fast. After that, he calls over another monarch by the name of Yogamon and tells him to stay there. He orders him to prepare a surprise attack for Jinwoo's Shadow Army, and he himself heads out for the fight. Over here, another army is visible, firing continuously at the monsters, trying to hold them back, but those bullets weren't going to do anything to those monsters. The monsters close in on them, and they're just about to wipe out the whole army. Then out of nowhere, a massive punch lands right across their faces. The impact sends those monsters flying far away, and we see that Thomas Andre has arrived on the scene. He says, "Monsters like you, I've been killing for years back in the dungeons. You guys might have numbers, but not a single one of you is strong." He's still running his mouth when, from up ahead, the Monarch of Iron steps forward. His name is Konek. He says, "I know exactly who you are. You're that pup of the rulers, the one who fought the Beast Monarch, and you couldn't even beat him when he was way weaker than me. So how the hell do you think you'll stop me?" Looking at him, Thomas Andre realizes that if he doesn't stay careful in front of this guy, he could lose his head at any moment. But even so, he says, "I love challenges like this." After that, we see from inside Thomas's shadow, a shadow soldier emerges and steps out, and it's no one other than Bellion. And he's not alone. He's brought the entire Shadow Army with him. Seeing this, the Monarch of Iron situation takes a turn for the worse. He says, "How did this Shadow Army get here?" Cha, it was inside that human the whole time. Meaning Jinwoo went to fight alone, and he'd stashed his entire Shadow Army inside Thomas the Monarch of Iron looks shaken. So this was the Shadow Monarch's plan. "I have to get this news to Antares, the Dragon King, fast." But for some reason, he can't make contact with Antares. Just then, we see Tusk's hand in it. He's blocking the signal with his magic circle. Seeing this, the Monarch of Iron gets furious and says the real Shadow Monarch never used cheap tricks like this. This is the human way of fighting. He's not worthy of being a monarch. Then we see Beru storming in from the front, furious, and he says, "Take back everything you just said. I will not tolerate anyone disrespecting my king." Seeing Beru, the Monarch of Iron gets even angrier and transforms into a new form, and he says, "How dare a mere shadow soldier stand before him? Do you even know who I am?" Meanwhile, we see that Antaros had finally come face to face with Jinwoo. Antaros says, "I can't make contact with the Monarch of Iron. He hasn't betrayed me, has he? Or is this some cheap trick of yours? Either way, I won't leave you alive." The moment he says that, he unleashes a fire blast from his mouth. The attack was so powerful that everything for miles around melted from the sheer heat, but Jinwoo hops on Queso and takes to the skies. And from above he shouts, "Arise!" Then every dragon Jinwoo had killed, they all rise as shadows and attack Antaros. But Antaros creates a wall of fire around himself, and the heat from it literally melts all those shadow soldiers in an instant. Antaros says, "Do you really think that these pathetic soldiers of yours can do anything to me? I know you sent your real Shadow Army to the Monarch of Iron." He's barely finished speaking when Jinwoo opens a portal and starts to flee through it. Seeing this, Antaros says, "Seriously, you're running away from the fight? I'm not letting you go that easily." He starts chasing after him, but Jinwoo had already gone through the portal. And just before it closed, Antaros slips in too, but it's all a trap. Antaros sees that all around him there's nothing but the Shadow Army. That's when he notices the Monarch of Iron is there too, dead. Beru and Bellion had teamed up and taken him down pretty easily. Antaros is shocked that this could all happen so fast. Not only that, all the soldiers of the Monarch of Iron had already been defeated by Jinwoo and added to his Shadow Army. Antaros realizes this was a trap. He says, "I have to admit, your strategy is pretty impressive. But if you think that you're the only one who can set traps, then you're wrong." Just then, a bunch of gates start opening in the sky. And we see that Yogamon had arrived too. He was the one who opened all those gates, and through them, the Dragon King's army starts pouring in. Antaros explains that from this gate, he can summon as many troops as he wants. Dragons come out one after another and surround the entire Shadow Army. Antaros says, "Your plan has failed now, and no one can save you from death." But just then, Jinwoo suddenly smiles and cancels all his summons. Seeing this, Antaros gets confused and says, "Why did you cancel your summons? Don't tell me you're about to give up already. Good thing you realized it early, that this fight isn't one you're going to win." As he's saying all that, Jinwoo starts using a power that even makes Antaros' jaw drop. He shouts out, "No, that can't be. How did you do that?" The thing is, Jinwoo was using the power of Kamish's runestone, the one he brought along with him. It's said that Kamish had a very deadly skill, one that had the power to wipe out the entire dragon race at once. Whenever he roared loudly, every living soul nearby would lose their minds and start attacking each other. Whether they were enemy or ally, both sides' armies would basically go insane. That's why Jinwoo had cancelled his summons beforehand. After that, he lets out a powerful roar. With that roar, every dragon that was about to attack freezes in place, as if someone had wiped their brains clean. And this effect isn't just on the dragons, it hits Yogamon too. Antares himself doesn't get affected, but even he's shocked. Okay, it affecting dragons makes sense, but how can this power work on a monarch? As he's thinking that, Jinwoo suddenly appears right next to him, grabs him, and teleports them both away, meaning he brings him to an island in Japan, the same island where Beru had built the castle. Antares says, "Impressive. You managed to separate me from my army. I have to admit, your planning is top-notch. That just means I need to hold you off until my army finds me." As he says that, he slowly starts to transform and takes the form of a giant dragon. Jinwoo gets ready for the fight too and summons his entire shadow army. Meanwhile, we see all the other hunters in the US fighting, and their alliance is pretty easily taking down monsters one after another. Then we see the Dragon King, giant shadow soldiers pounce on him and grab him tightly, and then comes Igris, who he unleashes a seriously powerful attack with his lightning sword so strong that the Dragon King literally can't even get up. He's completely pinned down by it. Watching all of that unfold, Jinwoo is genuinely shocked too. Then the Dragon King lets out a roar and shouts, "Enough! Let me show you my true power." And then he lets out a massive, thunderous roar. Because of it, a seriously dangerous shockwave starts radiating outward. Every shadow soldier nearby, they literally start disappearing, meaning permanently. Jinwoo can't even maintain control over his shadow soldiers anymore, so he quickly cancels all of his summons. But by then, the Dragon King had already permanently killed a ton of those soldiers. After that, the Dragon King releases a devastating fire blast from his mouth, but Jinwoo summons K-Cell again and takes to the air. Still, that attack had wiped out everything around them. The ground had completely melted into lava. Antares says, "Don't make the mistake of underestimating me. I was created for one purpose: destruction. I'm someone who wouldn't even hesitate to sacrifice myself in war. I'm no small-time monarch. I am Antares, the king of dragons and the monarch of destruction." Jinwoo realizes just how powerful that fire breath attack really is, so much so that even his shadow soldiers burned to ash within a second. So I absolutely have to avoid taking a direct hit from that. Just then, the Dragon King shifts back into his human form and says to Jinwoo, "You don't need to be so nervous. Shadow Monarch, when you grabbed my hand and teleported me here, I could have easily escaped if I'd wanted to, but I didn't, because you genuinely impressed me, and because we're both monarchs. I'd like to have a talk with you. You must already know, no monarch in this world has a real enemy that matches them. Our true enemy is the rulers and their army, and they have only one goal: to destroy every single monarch. They won't spare you either. Originally, my plan was, after defeating you, to take my army and go fight them directly. But seeing your talent, I've changed my mind. You have even more talent than Ashbourne did, so I want to make you an offer. If you want, I won't touch your family, or I won't touch your entire country either. And if you want, I'll leave this planet forever and disappear without a trace. But for that, you'll need to step forward and take my hand. If the two of us join forces, our armies will become unstoppable, and together, we can easily crush all the rulers. So what do you say, Shadow Monarch? Will you join me?" Jinwoo looks at him and smiles, saying, "Ha, you're having fun, huh? You actually expect me to believe all that garbage you're spewing, when your eyes are screaming it loud and clear that you want to see me dead." At that, Antares flashes an evil smile of his own and says, "Guess I didn't hide my emotions all that well. Then get ready, Shadow Monarch, because you won't get another chance like this." And with that, he transforms back into his dragon form. He unleashes a fire blast straight at Jinwoo, but Jinwoo tells K-Cell to dive down, and dodges the attack just in time. Then Jinwoo pulls out his dagger and slices Antares from top to bottom. But even after that, Antares doesn't get a single scratch, meaning Jinwoo had used his strongest dagger, the one Thomas gave him, and still, it had zero effect. Antares says, "You can't hurt me with that little toy." Right then, he lets out that same roar again, the one that killed tons of shadow soldiers last time. That roar throws off K-Cell's flight. Jinwoo loses his balance and falls from the sky. Taking advantage of that, the Dragon King hits him with another fire breath attack, but Jinwoo manages to dodge it. He gets behind the Dragon King and tries to stab him with his dagger, but Antares is skinned that Jinwoo just can't do anything to him. Then Jinwoo shouts, "Arise!" and summons his dragon soldiers. They all swarm Antaros and start biting him. One dragon is chomping down on his neck, while 2 others are roasting him with their flame attacks. All these dragons are from Valian's army, but even so, they can't do a thing to Antares. Their flames weren't working either. Antares says, "Don't you find it funny? These dragons I created myself, you think they can hurt me?" Jinwoo starts thinking, none of my normal attacks are having any effect on him. Of every opponent I've ever fought, compared to all of them, this guy's attack and defense are way stronger. I need some serious power, something strong enough to shatter his armor. That's when it hits him. Wait, armor. A circle forms all around him. An incredibly intense aura starts radiating from that spot. Basically, using the Shadow Monarch's dark magic, he's forging a brand new armor for himself. Seeing that, Antares is completely stunned. He thinks to himself, no, this can't be happening. Just moments ago, this guy was nothing but an ordinary human. So how is he summoning the power of death on Earth? Meanwhile, Jinwoo transforms into a completely new form. His entire body is now covered in armor, and now he's even bigger in size than the Dragon King. Seeing his new form, Jinwoo thinks, is this really me? So this is Esbon's true power, the power he left behind for me. Watching all this, the Dragon King's eyes nearly pop out. He thinks, this guy has gotten way too dangerous now. I need to finish him off in a single attack. So he unleashes a massive fire attack. But Jinwoo pulls out his new sword and uses it to completely absorb that fire attack. Seeing that, the Dragon King is stunned, and then both of them charge at each other at the same time. But before the Dragon King can do anything, Jinwoo lands a punch so hard that cracks start spreading across the Dragon King's body just from the shockwave. But the Dragon King still refuses to give up, and before Jinwoo can attack again, he grabs him with his mouth and slams him hard into the ground. The impact shatters the castle that Bara had built. At that moment, Antares uses his fire attack again, but Jinwoo gets back up on his feet and dodges the attack. Then he pulls out his sword and absorbs that fire attack completely. But the Dragon King swings his tail and hits him hard, sending Jinwoo flying far away. And this time, he fires off 4 fire attacks at once. The force of it causes a massive explosion. Smoke spreads everywhere, but then a sword comes flying out of the smoke and slices off Antares' wings. Then Jinwoo summons 5 or 6 more swords and sends them flying toward Antares. But Antares uses his fire breathing to defend himself. Now Jinwoo shifts back into his human form, because in that form, his mana was draining way too fast. And by this point, the Dragon King was pretty badly injured too. So he also shifts back into his human form and says to Jinwoo, "You still want to join me? If you do, say the word, this is your last offer." Jinwoo replies, "I have no interest in shaking hands with a monster." At that, Antares says, "Then come, fool." And he draws his sword and starts advancing toward Jinwoo. Jinwoo pulls out his dagger and strikes back, and the two of them clash swords for a long while. As their blades meet again and again, Antares says, "While you're busy fighting me here, Yogamont and my dragon army are out there destroying everything. The world you're trying so desperately to protect won't even exist after this fight, no matter how hard you try. You know that too. Because you've seen Ashbourne, you must be hearing the screams of millions of people right now." And the two of them keep attacking each other without stopping. Then suddenly, Antares drives his sword into Jinwoo's chest, but Jinwoo quickly steps back. Before he can even recover, Antares puts his sword to his throat and says, "Can you hear their screams now? Do you regret your decision?" Right then, Jinwoo sends his dagger behind Antares and says, "That's something you should be asking yourself." His dagger comes from behind and hits Antares' neck, but Antares activates his barrier, so the dagger can't even touch him. Then Antares speaks up. "Did you really think a dagger forged from the fangs of my own dagger could hurt me?" After that, Antares steps toward Jinwoo and says, "Come on, let's end this fight." Jinwoo replies, "You're right about that," and the two of them face each other. Antares draws his sword and says, "I don't care about my army at all. Then Jinwoo summons his entire Shadow Army all at once right beneath the Dragon King, and before he can even react, all the Shadow Soldiers grab the Dragon King from every side, so he can't move even an inch. Taking advantage of that, Jinwoo literally cuts him right down the middle, splits him in two. So much energy and mana is released in this fight that cracks start forming across the entire space. Antares says, "How is this possible? As far as I remember, I didn't see any gate when I arrived here. So how did the ruler's army get here? You heard that right, the entire ruler's army had arrived. There were so many of them that just looking at them gave you goosebumps. Actually, this was Jinwoo's plan from the very start. When the two strongest monarchs fight each other, a massive amount of mana and energy would be released, which would crack the space, and the two worlds would connect. Then the ruler's army could come through from there. And Terrace finally understands and says, "So that was your plan from the very start. I thought you wanted a one-on-one fight with me without any disturbance. That's why you separated me from my army. But there's still one thing I don't understand. How exactly did you contact the rulers? That should have been impossible for you." Then Jinwoo says, "There was one way. You forgot, sire, that the ruler's vessels still exist in this world." So Thomas made the contact, and Terry says, "So that's it. You could have lost this battle, you forgot, sire. But instead you ignored the fight and found a way to win this war." As he said this, Antaros was slowly fading away. Then suddenly, Jinwoo speaks up. "It was you, wasn't it? The one who brought the Beast Monarch and the White Flame Monarch, Demon King Baron, and ordered them to attack the Shadow Monarch." Antaros says, "Did the White Flame Monarch tell you this?" Jinwoo says, "No, Ashbourne told me. And yeah, he also asked me to pass you a message." With that, Jinwoo literally flips him off. Seeing that, the Dragon King's blood boils, and he lunges forward to attack with his sword. But just then, the rulers come from behind, and they all stop him with their own swords. After that, whatever life he had left drains away, and he starts dying. Before dying, he says to Jinwoo, "I'll wait for you in the true world of eternal slumber, not in this fake world that you built with your own hands. That's where we'll meet again." Hearing that, Jinwoo's like, "Bring it on, you bastard. I'll come there and wreck you too." And with that, Antaros' body gets completely destroyed, and this war finally comes to an end. Then, the ruler's leader comes before Jinwoo and says, "Finally, you've ended this war that lasted us years. We can never repay you for this deed." Jinwoo says, "There is one way. Actually, it's a request." So the rulers ask, "What kind of request?" Jinwoo says, "It's something only you all can do." At that, the rulers say, "If that thing is within our power, we'll definitely do it for you." So Jinwoo says, "Can you use the Cup of Reincarnation one more time for me?" Meaning, Jinwoo wanted to use the Cup of Reincarnation to take time back 10 years, which meant that all the monsters and monarchs Jinwoo had fought so far, that would mean all of them coming back to life, and Jinwoo having to fight every single one of them all over again, including the Dragon King and Terrace, the ones Jinwoo had worked so hard to defeat. Hearing this, all the rulers are completely shocked, and they say, "Do you really want to do this? Because even if you go back to the past, all the monarchs will still have the memories from this life, and you'll have to fight them all over again." Jinwoo says, "Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I have one more request. When I go back in time, this time, don't send a single monster to Earth. Don't open any dungeon gates either. I'll go into their dimensions alone and take down all the monarchs and their armies. There's no need to involve humans this time." The rulers say, "Why exactly do you want to do this? We've used the Cup of Reincarnation thousands of times, but we've never once won." Jinwoo says, "In this battle, millions and billions of people died, people who had no fault in any of this. I want to bring them all back." The rulers say, "The power of this Cup of Reincarnation is almost completely spent. If you fail this time, we won't be able to change time again. But if you stay here right now, the whole world will see you as a hero, the one who stood alone against the monarchs. People will remember you forever. But if you go back to the past and fight again, no one will remember you, and no one will even know you're fighting for them. Even if you win this battle, no one will come to even say thank you. So do you still want to go back in time?" Jinwoo smiles and says without a moment's hesitation, "Yes, absolutely." The rulers say, "You remind me of Ashbourne." Then they say, "All right, I understand. If you've made your decision, all we can say now is best of luck." Jinwoo asks, "What about my shadow soldiers who don't exist in the past?" So the rulers say, "The soldiers whose existence would affect your past, all of them will disappear." Jinwoo smiles and says, "All right, I'm ready now." After that, the rulers use the Cup of Reincarnation one last time, which causes an incredibly intense light to burst out. That light is so bright that the entire earth lights up with it. All the hunters start looking toward that light. Thomas Andre, Hunter Cha, and hunters from all over the world. Slowly, that light covers the entire world, and then suddenly, everything goes back to normal. That's when we see Jinwoo's sister, now a little girl again. She's waking Jinwoo up, and we see that Jinwoo is now a little kid again, all cute and small. The moment Jinwoo steps out of his room, he sees his mom cooking and his dad reading the newspaper. He says, "Dad." Seeing his dad alive again, Jinwoo gets overwhelmed with emotion and starts crying. His dad asks, "What's wrong? Why are you crying this early in the morning?" Jinwoo says, "Nothing, I just had a bad dream." Jinwoo thinks to himself, "I'm not letting this opportunity slip away. This time I'll write my own future, and this time I won't let anyone die or drift away from me." We see Jinwoo at school, having fun with his friends, totally happy. He thinks, if only everything could stay like this, if only I could enjoy this moment a little longer. But I know, news of the cup of reincarnation being used must have reached the Monarchs by now, and they're preparing their armies for war. If only I had a little more time. Just then, we see Jinwoo's mom, who finds a note on Jinwoo's desk. It says, "I'll only come back after I do what needs to be done." After that, the scene cuts straight to another dimension. He was taking out all the Monarchs and their armies one by one. We don't get to see the fights, but Jinwoo had already taken down almost all the Monarchs. Now Yogamont stands before him, and Jinwoo takes him down easily too. Honestly, Jinwoo only had one more Monarch left to defeat, the Dragon King, Antaros. Jinwoo thinks, "It's been so long, I wonder how my mom and dad are doing. Gina must be all grown up by now too. How am I even going to explain all this to them?" Just then Belian appears and says, "My king, we've finished off all the remaining Monarchs here. This place is now completely clear." Then Jinwoo says, "Erase," and he adds every single monster that died there to his Shadow Army. After that, he heads out with his army to take down Antaros. Meanwhile, we see Antaros, who gets the news that Yogamont is dead too, and now the Shadow Monarch is coming for them. His army asks, "Where do we run now? There's no safe place left anywhere." To which Antaros says, "I'm tired of running. Now prepare for war. We're fighting here." Right then, Jinwoo teleports in. Antaros sees Jinwoo, smiles, and says, "I never thought you'd use the cup of reincarnation to turn back time, and that we'd meet again. But this time, one of us is going to eternity forever." After that, Antaros stands up and says, "I am Antaros. What's your name?" Jinwoo says, "I'm the one you've already lost to once. And now, you're about to lose a second time. I am the second Shadow Monarch, Sung Jinwoo." Then Jinwoo moves toward him quickly and says, "So tell me, what's your last wish?" Hearing that, Antaros gets furious, and he charges at Jinwoo to attack too. Both of their swords clash together, and after that, the scene cuts away. We don't get to see that fight in full, but Jinwoo easily defeats even the Dragon King, because by now, he had become way more powerful than before. He had been fighting alone for 27 years, and his Shadow Army had grown massively in numbers too. Every monarch he killed, he kept adding their armies to his Shadow Army. Anyway, after that, the scene shifts to the real world. We find out that in America, a fortune teller made a prophecy. Very soon, the god of death is coming to Earth, along with their countless soldiers, and they're bringing this world's destruction with them. Hearing this prophecy, panic spreads across the whole world. We see that this fortune teller is none other than Lady Seer herself. Normally, people don't take any fortune teller seriously, but Lady Seer was different. 2 years ago, she received a gift. The seer could see everything that no one else could see. And in the past 2 years, she made several big predictions, all of which came true. So this time, everyone was terrified. The next day, we see a massive gate appear in the sky above South Korea, which makes everyone panic even more, because in this world, until today, no gate had ever opened, and the gate appearing right after the prophecy shocks everyone. But then, cracks start forming on that gate, and it slowly opens. Yet nothing comes out of it. Actually, through that gate, Jinwoo returns to Earth, but no one can see him. Just then, a man comes up to Jinwoo with a flower and welcomes him. That man is actually a ruler. He says, "I didn't expect you to come back in the form of a student." Jinwoo says, "Yeah, because I couldn't come back with my full beard face. If he'd shown up in his full form, people would have been terrified just looking at him." Then that ruler sincerely thanked Jinwoo for defeating all the monarchs single-handedly. He said, "Even though the people you fought this battle for won't ever know about it, We know everything, and we'll never forget you." Then Jinwoo said, "You didn't come here just to say thanks or hand me this flower. Get to the point. What's this really about?" That ruler said, "I've come with a message from all the rulers. But it's a long conversation, so why don't we go somewhere else and talk?" So he took him to an ice cream shop. He ordered a ton of ice cream, ate it all, and said, "All right, what's the ruler's message?" The ruler said, "Because you've become many times stronger than before, the rulers are worried about your power. They're saying that if you stay on Earth, the people here could be in danger from you. There's not even a drop of mana left in this world. So they've made a request that you please leave Earth and shift to another world." Hearing that, Jinwoo got furious. A dark aura started radiating from him, and he said, "So now that your work is done, you people want to get rid of me? You want to seal me away in another world? Just because my power scares you all?" Seeing Jinwoo furious, that guy panicked and said, No, it's nothing like that. You're misunderstanding." Then he pulled out his phone and showed the news about Lady Seer, and said, "We're just afraid that this prophecy might come true, because every single prediction she's made so far has come true." Looking at that, Jinwoo said, "Can we talk some other day? I'm not in the mood today, and I'm really tired." That guy immediately bowed his head and said, "Yes, of course. Whatever you wish, Shadow Monarch." After that, Jinwoo sat there and started thinking, if every living organism has a fixed purpose behind its existence, then one thing is certain. The fact that I became the Shadow Monarch and defeated all the monarchs with my strength, saving this world, my mission, my purpose, is already complete. A flood of questions started rising in Jinwoo's mind. He thought, have I become someone this world no longer has any use for? That line was absolutely heartbreaking. Jinwoo was feeling an immense emptiness. Just then, a girl was passing by outside that ice cream shop. Jinwoo immediately rushes out of the ice cream shop, but they show us that the girl is none other than Sha Hae-in. After that, the scene shifts to familiar faces from the past. People who were once close to Jinwoo. They're all still here in this new world. The ones Jinwoo had an emotional attachment to Jinwoo. Thinks to himself, a time will definitely come when I'll get answers to all my questions. But if there's a reason for me to stay here, then maybe it's these very people, the ones I love, or the ones who love me. They're all still in this world. Then they show us some more old characters whose lives are going really well now. Jinwoo knows about all of them. He shared memories with every single one. But now they don't know who Jinwoo is. Still, Jinwoo thinks, even if they don't know me, I know them, don't I? And that alone is enough for him to stay in this world. He'll stay here and find another reason for why he should keep living here, and that's his final decision. Just then the scene cuts again, and we see Jinwoo standing in front of Cha Hae-in. And with this wholesome moment, the main story of Solo Leveling comes to an end. But Solo Leveling Season 4 isn't completely over yet. There's still story after this, but it's not directly connected to the main plot. You could call it the final part of the show. This after story shows moments that fans really wanted to see what Jinwoo will do in this world after finishing everything. How far his relationship with her will go, and now that monsters are gone, what the hunters are up to. Will Lady Seer's prophecy come true? And will the rulers end up betraying Jinwoo somehow? And can monsters ever return to this world? What will Jinwoo's future look like? We'll see all of this in the after story. The episode starts with Jinchul, who's a police officer in this new world. He's just doing his usual office work like any other day. Then some criminals walk in to surrender on their own. Those guys were absolutely terrified. The officer asks them why they're surrendering, and the criminals start trembling with fear and say, "A monster. No, a shadow." A shadow came out of the ground and said, "If we don't surrender within 24 hours, and after saying that it started screaming, please put me in jail, it's all my fault. I'm the one who committed the crime." Hearing this, Jinchul and the other officers are completely confused. Just then, a senior officer calls Jinchul into the meeting room and says they should release all these criminals. Hearing that, Jintal is shocked and says, "These people are confessing to serious crimes. How can we just release them?" The senior officer says, "This stuff has been happening for a while now. I'm getting pressure from above to figure out what's behind it. We couldn't ask for a better opportunity. We'll release them, but we'll keep them under surveillance for 24 hours. That's how we'll find out if they're telling the truth, or if someone's behind all this." At that, Jinchul asks, "But what if that shadow monster actually shows up?" Hearing that, the other officers start making fun of him. "You still believe in all that stuff? There's no such thing as monsters." But if you're that scared, fine, we'll go by ourselves. Jinwoo quickly says, no, I'm coming right now. Then the scene shifts to a warehouse. The criminals are crying and saying, don't leave me here alone, I'll die. Please believe what I'm telling you. The officer reassures them, nothing's gonna happen to you. We're right here, we just need to check a few things. The other officer checks his watch and says, only 10 minutes left until the full 24 hours are up. After that, everything goes back to normal, and that's that. Just then, Jinwoo feels something strange. He thinks to himself, there's something different about the air here. I don't know why, but it feels so familiar. The other officer says, sir, time's up. The 24 hours are complete. That shadow monster could show up any moment now. Hearing that, the criminal starts shaking with fear. But a little while passes and nobody shows up. The officer says, you guys weren't on drugs together or something, were you? The criminal says, no sir, I remember it clearly. It really was a monster. But I don't know why it's not coming this time. The officer says, yeah, enough already. I can't believe I actually believed your story. There's no such thing as monsters. And with that, they start to leave, but suddenly shadows emerge from behind them. They fling the two officers aside, leaving only Jinwoo. The impact knocks both of them unconscious. We see that they're Jinwoo's ant soldier. Seeing them, Jinwoo completely freezes up, and the criminal is absolutely terrified too. He tries to run away, but the ant soldier kills that criminal right there on the spot. Then it looks at Jinwoo and gives a faint smile and vanishes into thin air. Jinwoo is completely confused, wonders how this is even possible. Do those monsters know who I am? Why is he getting this weird feeling? Like everything that just happened here, he's been in a situation like this before. Then the scene cuts. A senior officer is scolding everyone. The criminal who came to surrender himself, how did he just suddenly disappear? And you guys come back looking like this? All the officers apologize. Jinwoo doesn't tell the truth either, that the criminal is dead. He says, I passed out. And when I came to, both officers were unconscious. So I called an ambulance. The senior officer says, this stays between us. If this gets reported up the chain, we could all get suspended. A little while later, we see Jinwoo doing research on these kinds of cases, where criminals surrender on their own. He discovers that it's not just here, it's happening at different police stations too. He notices that these kinds of cases started in February of this year. Nothing like this ever happened before. Now the scene shifts. In the school principal's office, the principal is talking with a teacher about a new student. The principal says that student might be a bit problematic because he ran away from home for 2 years. And because of that, he was also expelled from his last school. Then the principal asks, can you handle him? The teacher says with confidence, this is literally my job. I've shown plenty of students like him the right path. Then the scene shifts to the school's assembly hall, where we finally see Jinwoo. The teacher's eyes land on Jinwoo too, and he thinks, so this is the new student. Then he notices that Jinwoo is wearing gloves on one hand. He thinks to himself, wow, it's his first day of school, and he's already breaking the rules. Time to teach him a lesson. He walks up to Jinwoo and says, hey kid, how dare you come to school wearing gloves? But the moment Jinwoo turns around and looks at him, the teacher literally freezes, because he starts seeing monsters inside Jinwoo, and he feels an incredibly dangerous aura. The teacher quickly turns away and pretends to scold some other kid instead. He thinks to himself, what was that? Am I seeing some kind of illusion? How could that even be possible? Over here, Balian speaks to Jinwoo. My king, I think he spotted us. Jinwoo says, yeah, I know. And he thinks to himself, is this some side effect of living in this world? The scene shifts to the classroom. Jinwoo is sitting there calmly. Suddenly, some guys come up and start bullying him. They make fun of his gloves and tell him to take them off. Jinwoo completely ignores them and keeps focusing on his studies. Seeing that, those guys get even more annoyed. Watching all this, Baru gets angry too. He says to Jinwoo, my king, if you just give the word, I'll cut these fools' throats and lay them at your feet. Jinwoo quickly says, no, absolutely not. Then, of his own accord, he takes off the gloves and shows them. We see that his hand was completely burned. It was the same burn mark he got while fighting the Dragon King and Teres. It was a permanent injury, one that even Jinwoo couldn't heal. Seeing such a horrifying injury, those students get scared. Jinwoo says calmly, "Have you guys never seen burn marks before?" The students quickly say, "Bro, I was just joking around. Why are you taking it so seriously?" And they walk away in fear. But Beru doesn't like this at all, and he starts going after them. Jinwoo says, "Why are you going after them? Just leave them alone." But by then, Beru had already tripped all those students and sent them crashing to the ground, which caused them to be embarrassed in front of everyone. We see that in this school, Jinwoo has a friend too. He praises him and says, "Man, you've changed a lot in 3 years. Now you're not afraid of anyone. Do you work out or something?" Jinwoo says, "Yeah, I've done a lot of training." The friend asks, "So would you want to join the school's athletic club?" Jinwoo says, "Yeah, actually, I was planning to join this club." Then we see Jinwoo going up to the captain of the track and field club, where people are doing running practice. They're shocked when they see Jinwoo, and they say, "You both really want to join our club?" Jinwoo says, "Only I want to join." Hearing that, the other club members come over and start making fun of Jinwoo. They ask if he's ever done a race or running practice before. Jinwoo says, "No." They laugh and say, "You know, it's not just about sports talent. She wasn't just a talented runner before becoming a hunter in that world. She'd even represented her state, Jin." He thinks, if she follows that same dream in this world too, maybe I'll get to meet her in the future. The club captain finally gives in and says, "All right, but there's a condition. You see that guy standing over there? He's the slowest runner in our group. If you can beat him, then you're in the club. You can join, but in reality, that guy isn't slow at all. He actually came in third in last year's race." But Jinwoo's new to the school, so he doesn't know the history. Still, Jinwoo gets ready and the race begins. Meanwhile, we see he's genuinely talented. He's already done 20 laps, and his stamina still shows no sign of running out. The teacher thinks, maybe I misjudged him. This kid really is a gifted student. But then suddenly that same dark Beru shows up and lets out a massive roar. Seeing that, the teacher literally faints right there. Then from behind, Igris says, "I told you not to do that, Beru." Beru replies, "I didn't know he could actually see us." After that, we see Jinwoo again, comes up to them and says, "You're not talking about that ant monster, are you? The one with a head like an ant and a body like a human." We see that this man is actually Jinwoo's teacher, the one who can see Jinwoo's shadow soldiers, and he's completely losing his mind. Hearing this, Jinchul is shocked, but the teacher says, "Sorry, I think I've had a bit too much to drink. I'm just rambling." And with that, he walks away. Jinchul tries to stop him, but he won't stop. But Jinchul's a detective. He follows him and finds out which school Jinwoo attends. As soon as he sees Jinwoo, he's quite impressed and thinks, even though he has no memories of his past life, he still found me. Then they step out of class and meet in the hallway. Jinchul says, "Sorry, I interrupted your class." Meanwhile, Jinchul was also getting a strange feeling. He thinks, how can a student's face have this much charm? Then Jinchul pulls a drawing from his pocket and shows it, asking, "Have you ever seen an ant like this?" Jinwoo thinks, wow, he's pretty good at drawing too. Jinwoo looks at the drawing closely and says, hearing that, Jinchul gets excited and says, "When did I say that? Tell me quickly. Where did you see it? Is this some kind of monster? And who exactly are you?" But Jinwoo replies, "This is just the kind of monster you see in dramas and movies, the ones created with special effects, the ones kids love to watch." Hearing that, Jinchul gets even more confused. That was definitely not the answer he expected. Jinchul snatches the drawing back from Jinwoo and says, "Forget it, never mind," and he starts to walk away. That's when Jinwoo speaks up. "It was really nice talking to you. Could you give me that drawing?" Just then, Beru says to Jinwoo, "My king, please don't take that ugly drawing. I don't look anything like that." But Jinchul hands over the drawing and says, "Yeah, sure, you can keep it," and he walks off. Then Jinchul heads back to class and all the girls crowd around him. They ask how he knows the detective and start showering him with compliments. "You're so cool," and stuff like that. Seeing that, the guys in class get jealous. A few of them come over to bully Jinwoo. They say, "So you think you're a big shot now, huh? Come on, let's fight." Just then, someone grabs one of those guys from behind. Turns out the track and field captain and the other club members had shown up. They grab the bullies and say to Jinwoo, "Good thing we got here in time. Otherwise, you would have wiped the floor with these guys." Jinwoo says, "Stop joking around. Tell me why you're really here." Turns out Jinwoo had come in first at the race and beaten every single club member. That's why they'd started respecting him and had made him their friend. The captain says, "I came to invite you to a party. We've got a new member joining our club, so we're throwing a party this evening. You're free, right?" Jinwoo says, "Yeah, of course." They say, "All right then. We'll meet after class." And they drag those 4 bully students along with them. Later, when school lets out, Jinwoo starts heading off with them. But then, at the school gate, Jinchul shows up again. Jinchul says, "Can we talk for a minute?" Jinwoo says bye to his friends and goes off with Jinchul. Jinchul says, "What's up? Can you make it quick? I've got a party to get to with my friends." Jinchul says quietly, "Hunter Sung Jinwoo, is it really you?" The moment he says that, tears start streaming from his eyes. Then we get a flashback, when Jinchul had gone to meet Jinwoo at school, and he was about to leave after handing over the drawing. He was just thinking to himself, "I'm just wasting my time for nothing. What normal person would believe a word I say?" But then suddenly he hears a voice. "Chairman, do you trust me?" That voice comes from one of his old memories. Jinchul gets confused and turns around to look, but there's no one there, so he starts walking away. Then he hears that same voice again, and slowly his entire memory starts coming back. As you know, in the old world, Jinwoo had told Jinchul about the monarchs and rulers before anyone else. The moment it all comes back, Jinchul sits down, holding his head, thinking, how is any of this even possible? Then the scene shifts to the present, where Jinchul and Jinwoo are walking together in a park. Jinchul says, "How long have you been fighting alone in that other dimension?" Jinwoo says quietly, 27 years. Hearing that, Jinchul is stunned and asks Jinwoo, "Don't you ever regret it?" Jinwoo says, "No, not at all. If I got the chance to do it all over again, my decision would stay the same every single time." They keep talking, and Jinwoo tells him he can't even grow old anymore, meaning he'll stay young forever, some kind of immortal power. Jinchul is really impressed and asks, "Have you ever thought about what you'll do in the future?" Jinwoo says, "Haven't really thought about it yet." Jinchul says, "Then why don't you come work with me?" Jinwoo says, "If I became a cop, the other officers wouldn't have anything left to do." Jinwoo finally, after so many years, was happy because all this time he'd been fighting all alone. There wasn't even anyone to ask how he was doing. But now, finally, he'd found someone who knew his true identity. Then Jinwoo leaves. Time keeps passing, and a few months later, we see a man who ends up seeing something that scares him half to death. So he calls the emergency call center and reports it. He says there's something weird in the sky, and there's a crack forming in it. We see that it's a gate. Yes, in this world too, gates had started opening now. On the other side, we see Jinwoo, who's doing his homework in his room, and Egress is helping him out. Just then, he senses the presence of a gate. After that, he heads to a restaurant, and there he calls in the ruler's messenger too. Jinwoo asks him directly, "Are the rulers behind all this?" The guy gets scared and says, No, this isn't our doing. Besides, the people doing this, their method of crossing dimensions is completely different from ours." Jinwoo presses further, "So do you have any idea who's behind this?" The ruler explains, "Those beings are a race of giant monsters that originate from another planet. They consume rocks to keep themselves alive. They're also known as Titan." Jinwoo asks, "You've used the cup of reincarnation plenty of time, but why didn't anything like this happen in the previous timelines?" The ruler replies, "Before, they used to track the monarchs, the ones who held immense power. But now, this world has no monarchs at all, so those beings are going to come to Earth." Then the ruler tells Jinwoo, "Don't worry anymore. I've already sent my army." But Jinwoo says, "It's too late now. The rulers will take too long to arrive, and by then, Earth will be completely destroyed. So I'll handle this threat myself." Now we cut back to that area where the gate had opened. Turns out, it's a desert in the USA. We see a bunch of military and scientist teams have already arrived to observe the gate. In this world, they've never seen a gate before, so nobody has any idea what this thing is. But suddenly, we see all the military personnel, their tanks and their vehicles, everything starts floating up into the air. They're in total shock. How is this happening? We realize it's Jinwoo doing all of this. He moves them all to a safe spot away from the gate, because he knew those tanks and all weren't going to be of any use. Then Jinwoo gets ready for the fight. He says, "The stage is set now for our guests. I can feel it. They could show up any moment." After that, Jinwoo pulls out his dagger. Just then, we see in the sky a massive number of giant Titans' army pouring out of the gate. The moment they lay eyes on Jinwoo, they say, "What kind of joke is this? Just one guy came to stop us?" Jinwoo replies, "You really think I'm alone?" And right then, Jinwoo summons his entire Shadow Army. They surround the whole Titans' army. Then he gives his soldiers the order to attack. Meanwhile, we see the White House in the USA, where a meeting is going on about the monsters that came out of this gate. Actually, Jinwoo's battle with the Titans was being recorded by a drone, and now that footage had reached the US government, but they had never seen anything like this before, so they just couldn't believe it. Sure, they're shocked seeing the Titan, but even more than that, they're shocked seeing Jinwoo, the one fighting all of them. Everyone tries to figure out Jinwoo's real identity. Who is he? What country is he from? How does he have this much power? But of course, nobody there has any idea. Back on the battlefield, Jinwoo's army is wiping out all the Titans. Tusk is burning them up with fire blasts. Even though the Titans have way bigger numbers, Jinwoo and his army are taking them down pretty easily. Just then, one of the biggest Titans steps in front of Jinwoo and speaks. "I never thought talent like this could exist on another planet, but you need mana to use your power. That clearly shows your race is still very underdeveloped." Then he changes his form, shrinking down to a smaller size, and says, "To fight at our full strength, we just have to make ourselves smaller." And then he starts walking toward Jinwoo and says, "If you apologize to me right now, then maybe I'll forgive you." But before he could even finish his line, Bellion steps in and cuts his head off. Then Bellion bows before Jinwoo and says, "My king, I hope I didn't interrupt your conversation." After that, the two of them together slowly take out all the remaining Titans. Now after this, we see the US government again. They're still trying to figure out Jinwoo's identity. They're talking about how easily he took down those monsters. If it wasn't for him, the whole Earth would have been destroyed today. Even though this news was still only known to the government, nothing had been told to the public, because it could create a panic situation. We see that Michael is also in that meeting. He's the director of the intelligence agency in this world. He suggests that they should ask the Lady Seer, because she was the one who predicted all this. So maybe she could also tell them who this mysterious person is. A few days later, we see Jinwoo back at his school, where he's hanging out with his friends on the track field. Then Jinwoo spots a guy and gets totally caught off guard. His name is Kim Chul, and he's actually none other than Iron, who had been one of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers in the previous world. Seeing him, Jinwoo's completely stunned too. We see that Kim Chul is also feeling something weird. The moment Jinwoo steps in front of him, he feels like bowing his head and showing respect, like he's a king. But he can't figure out why he feels that way. He thinks to himself, this kid looks about my age, even younger than me. So why do I feel like he's some kind of master to me? Am I scared of him or something? Then he thinks to himself again, no, that can't be it at all. There's no way I'm afraid of him. He's all skinny and weak looking compared to me. Then he walks up to Jinwoo and says, "Hey you, what are you staring at with those dumb eyes? If you got guts, come over here for 2 minutes and I'll show you." Jinwoo's friends start hyping it up too. "Oh nice, we're about to see a fight now." But Jinwoo tells them to stay right where they are and walks off with Kim Chul. Then they head to some deserted spot. Suddenly Iron grabs Jinwoo by the collar, lifts him up, and says, "Now talk, you were acting all tough in front of everyone. Just because I'm in a school uniform, don't you dare think you can go toe-to-toe with me." We see that after all this time, seeing Iron, all of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers get excited. Tusk, Egress, and Barrow are completely hyped. That's our Iron right there. But Bellion speaks up, "My king, if you give me permission, I'll show him his place right now." So he never dares to act like that with you again. Then suddenly Kim Chul starts crying. He doesn't understand why he's crying himself, but he just can't hold it back. Jinwoo starts walking away thinking, even though he was my shadow past life, in this life, he's just a normal human. I have no right to interfere in his life. Then from behind, Kim Chul puts his hand on his heart and says, "Wait a minute, is this what people call love?" Jinwoo's like, "What the heck are you blabbering about, you idiot? I knew you couldn't go without saying something nonsense." Then Jinwoo uses his power to wipe away the leftover memory that was making Kim Chul feel that way, the one that was causing all those feelings, so he could live his life like a normal human. After that, Kim Chul passes out, and by the time he comes to, Jinwoo's already gone. He doesn't remember a thing. Then the scene shifts to David, who's gone to meet Lady Seer. Lady Seer welcomes him and invites him inside. She tells him another guest came before him, but she doesn't say who it was. David says, "In that case, I won't waste too much of your time. I'll get straight to the point." But before he can even say anything, Lady Seer speaks up. "Look, I already told you that I can't see anything about the god of death anymore." Meaning, ever since she made that prediction, that the god of death is coming to this world. From that moment till now, she hasn't seen the god of death in her visions even once. David says, "Actually, I didn't come here to ask about that. There's something else I need to know." Lady Seer immediately replies, "The answer to your first question is yes, and the answer to your second question is no." David gets confused. "Wait, how do you already know what I'm about to ask?" Seer says, "That's what you came to find out, right? Whether I know the identity of that mysterious person or not." Well, the answer is yes, I do know, but I can't tell you anything about him. So yeah, they're talking about Jinwoo here. Hearing this, David gets shocked and starts yelling, "How can you do this? Do you have any idea what he's done? That guy is literally a national level threat," Seer asks. "Haven't you seen that video?" David says. "Yeah, I've seen it. He was easily taking down all those monsters all by himself, which could be a huge threat to our country. So what if I told you that wasn't the first time he's done something like that?" David gets even more shocked. Like, this has all happened before. Then David realizes Lady Seer's words might actually be true, and he starts to leave because that won't work. Lady Seer smiles and says, "Yes, absolutely, I can guarantee it." So David says, "Then fine, I'll forget that you know anything about him either." And with that, David leaves, and then we see that lie, "I'm going to disappear." Seer says, "Maybe you're forgetting that one more mistake of yours could disqualify you from becoming a professional fighter." Actually, in this world, Thomas Andre is a UFC fighter. He respects Lady Seer because she saved him from a road accident. After giving her prediction, she also warned him, and Thomas asked her about it. Thousands of people die in road or traffic accidents every day all over the world. So why did you save only me? Lady Seer replied, "Just think of it this way. You did a lot of good in your past life. You saved a lot of people's lives. So this life is the reward for all those good deeds." Thomas said, "Sometimes I can't tell if you're being serious or just messing with me." After that, the scene shifts to Jinwoo's school, where a racing competition between two schools was about to start. And in the girls' group, we see Cha Hai-in as well. She easily wins that race too. Then that same evening, she's sitting under a tree, where we see she's hurt her ankle. Because of that, she was really down and thinking, "I won the first round. But with this leg, how am I supposed to run in the upcoming rounds?" Just then, Jinwoo comes up from behind her and says, "If you ignore that injury and participate in the race, your leg could get even worse. Then you won't be able to take part in any race for a whole year, and you'll miss out on all your practice too. After that, you'll get slower and spend your whole life just blaming yourself." That's exactly what happened to a close friend of mine. Cha Hae-in looks at him, confused, and thinks, "This is that same guy I saw at school today, but I don't know why his scent feels so familiar. It feels like we've met before." She says, "Thank you for caring so much about me, but I'm fine." But just then, the pain in her leg flares up again. Jinwoo says, "Wait a minute, don't move at all." And then he heals her leg and says with a smile, "Now you can run without any regrets." Cha Hae-in feels a bit shy at first, but after a moment, once her leg is healed, she's amazed. She asks, "Wait, have we met before?" Jinwoo gives a slight smile and says, "If you beat me in the race, I'll answer every single question you have." Cha Hae-in says, "What kind of deal is that? You're way older than me, and you're a high school student too. I've heard a lot about you, that you've never lost a single race so far," Jinwoo says. "So that means you want to give up without even racing." To which Cha Hae-in says, "No. If that's the case, then just let me finish my pre-exam first. After that, I'll accept your challenge, and I'll beat you." Time passes by after that. Jinwoo's living his normal student life, doing all the stuff with his friends that he never got to do in the previous world. Every now and then, he'd still hang out with Chain too. Then one day, Christmas time rolls around, and Jinwoo's heading out to meet Chain again. On the way, he spots this dress in a shop window, and he really likes how it looks. He thinks maybe Chain would like it too, so he uses his magic to copy the dress. Then he asks Tusk, "How does this look on me?" Tusk gets all excited and says, "My king, it looks absolutely perfect." Right then, Kane sneaks up from behind. She was about to surprise Jinwoo, but Jinwoo turns around before she can. Kane says, "Seems like you've got eyes in the back of your head too." Then the two of them start walking around together. Kane congratulates Jinwoo because he'd just graduated from school and he got really good marks. Kane asks, "Your grades are this good, then why are you even applying to that university?" Jinwoo says the scholarship money there is really good, and another reason is that he needs to meet someone there. Hearing that, Kane gets jealous and says, "What do you mean meet someone? Is it a girl?" Jinwoo plays along and says, "Who knows, maybe it is." Hearing that, Kane literally puffs up her cheeks. It's a really wholesome scene. In anime like Solo Leveling, we rarely get to see stuff like this. Then Kane says, "Do you remember our promise?" Jinwoo says, "Which promise?" Kane says, "The one you talked about. If I won the race, you'd answer all my questions." Jinwoo says, "Yeah, of course I remember." So Kane says, "Why don't we race right now? Whoever reaches that Christmas tree first wins." Jinwoo says, "That's fine, but what do you want to ask me?" Kane says, "Everything I want to know. Everything. Like what you're always thinking about. And that person you're meeting at the university, that guy." And she puts the dress on Jinwoo, then softly says, "If you like me, then you won't move from here at all, and you'll let me win." With that, she takes off running, and Jinwoo's like, "Wait, what is even happening right now? This is straight up cheating, man." But that's not all of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers are enjoying the show too. Igris, Bellion, Tusk, and Barrow are all having a blast. "My king, you've lost this time. We never thought you'd give up that easily. There's still time. If you start running now, you could still win." Jinwoo lifts his foot to run, but then he remembers all the moments he shared with Kane in the past. Remembering them, he starts to smile and stops in his tracks. By then, Kane reaches the Christmas tree, touches it, and says she wins. Jinwoo starts smiling and tells his shadow soldiers, "You all close your eyes for a moment, and this goes for you guys too. Anyone single watching this, close your eyes, or you might end up with some emotional damage." Then he walks toward Kane, and from the other side, Kane walks toward Jinwoo too. Snowfall starts in the sky as well. The whole scene was perfectly set, and then the two of them come close to each other. And for the first time, they kiss. Our Aura farmer has fallen for a woman. Now, our Sigma has turned into a simp. Our Shadow Monarch finally got himself a girl. When are you gonna get one? How long are you gonna keep being happy for others' happiness? Anyway, jokes aside, this scene is pretty wholesome and heartwarming. If you're enjoying this, a like is the least you can do, man. And hey, hit subscribe too while you're at it. Now after this, we look at the world of eternal slumber. It's a world where all of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers live. Here, we see Tusk. A soldier comes up to him and says, "Good morning, General Tusk." But Tusk says, "In this world, there's no day or night, so we can't really say when morning is." Just then, Barrow shows up too. We find out his rank is now Grand Marshal. Barrow had brought a coat for Tusk, which looked just like Jinwoo's coat. Tusk had begged Barrow multiple times to get it made. Seeing that coat, Tusk gets completely thrilled, and he immediately puts it on and says, "This is perfect." And he tells Barrow, "Thank you so much. How can I ever repay this kindness?" Barrow says, "Chill. No need for that." Tusk is completely losing his mind with joy. He says, "I love this coat so much. I want every single shadow soldier to wear one." We find out that the world of eternal slumber, which Jinwoo created, is a massive world with different areas and zones built inside, where different types of shadow soldiers live. And there are separate zones for every activity, like a training area, a manufacturing zone. Baru's ant colony is in there too. There's a separate magic training zone where Tusk is right now. All the soldiers' minds here are connected to Jinwoo. And that's not all. As you know, before becoming shadow soldiers, they used to be monsters. They used to cause destruction. But in this world, their personalities started changing. They started becoming more like humans, meaning human emotions started showing up in them, which was a whole new experience for their empty hearts. We see that Igris had become a professor, and he was teaching the other soldiers how to read and write. Though everyone in his class is a total goofball, Bellion just keeps training the other soldiers non-stop. Now all the soldiers would chat with each other like humans. They'd even grab each other by the collar and fight when they got mad. But when push comes to shove, all shadow soldiers help each other out. So yeah, a lot had changed by now. Meanwhile, we see Tusk again, who's now flexing his new coat in front of the other soldiers. Just then, Igris shows up. His rank as Commander. Tusk has a lot of respect for Igris. He says, "Commander Igris, what are you doing here?" Igris says, "It's about to start very soon. Don't you think all of us generals and soldiers of higher ranks should get together and give our king a cheer and a shout?" Actually, they were talking about Chain because Jinwoo finally, after all these years, was going to meet Chain. All the shadow soldiers gather together and look out the window where they can see the real world. This is from the time when Jinwoo first went to meet Chain in this world. All the shadow soldiers get together to cheer Jinwoo up, saying our king finally found Lady Cha. This moment is super wholesome because it's the first time we see shadow soldiers like this, that they have their own distinct personality. They have emotions too. Anyway, seeing all this brings back old memories for Igris. When he first met Jinwoo, Ashbourne had ordered him to fight Jinwoo as a test, whether he was truly worthy of becoming Ashbourne's vessel. So he goes to the throne inside that dungeon, sits on it, and waits for Jinwoo. But then he gets a notification that the fight was starting, and then their fight begins, which you all saw in Season 1. But shortly after the fight started, he gets really disappointed with Jinwoo, thinking this guy's way too weak. He could never be his king's vessel, never in a million years. But there's one thing he notices. No matter how many times Jinwoo gets knocked down, every single time he gets back up on his feet, and he never even thinks about giving up. Seeing this, Igris gets pretty surprised, and for a moment, he even gets distracted. And right at that moment, Jinwoo breaks Igris's sword and stabs him with his dagger. Igris could have easily stopped all of that if he wanted to. But at that moment, he saw a tiny spark of Ashbourne inside Jinwoo, and that's exactly why he lost then. After that, once he became a shadow soldier, from then on, Jinwoo always treated him well, and he'd even praise him for his good work, which Igris really appreciated. And that's how he slowly became more and more loyal to Jinwoo. He got so much love from Jinwoo that after a while, he started forgetting his previous master. Ashbourne, Igris says he doesn't just help Jinwoo in battle, but he also helps him solve math problems. Because out of all the shadow soldiers, he's the only one who graduated from a night academy, and with pretty good grades too. So nobody else could do that job besides him, which he's pretty proud of, honestly. After that, we get shown a scene from a few years ago, when Jinwoo arrives in this world after using the cup of reincarnation, and when he sees his dad alive again, he breaks down crying. At that time, we don't get shown it, but after Jinwoo leaves, his dad gets emotional too. Then that night, he goes to a restaurant to meet someone, and that someone is none other than the ruler who welcomed Jinwoo into this world. Mr. Sung asks, "What decision did my son make?" Before you guys get confused, let me clarify that Jinwoo's father also has memories of his past life. He knows that his son is the Shadow Monarch, so seeing Jinwoo make such a huge sacrifice, he got emotional. The ruler says the Shadow Monarch has decided to stay in this world because every moment he's spent here is precious to him. Then the ruler asks Mr. Song a question. "Aren't you going to tell your son about your memories?" Mr. Song smiles and says, "If my son doesn't want anyone to remember him, then why would I ever tell him?" The ruler responds, "Like father, like son." Then Mr. Song says, "I need a favor from you. I want you to erase my memories from my past life. Is that possible?" The ruler says it's possible, but why would you want that? Mr. Sung says, "For me, knowing everything but pretending not to is too painful. I just want to be a normal father who only worries about his son. To me, Jinwoo is just my normal son, not some shadow monarch." Hearing that, the ruler smiles and says, "I understand." Then he uses his power, erases Mr. Sung's memories and says, "The moment you walk out of this restaurant, you'll forget everything." After that, he leaves. Now the scene shifts to another restaurant, where we see Jinho for the first time in this world. He's hanging out with his friends, but something about this restaurant felt familiar to him, like this place held some old memories for him. Just then, his friends start talking about Jinwoo. Turns out Jinwoo go to the same university, but Jinwoo is their senior and these guys are juniors. If you remember, Jinwoo told Chain that he wanted to meet someone from this university. Back then, he was talking about Jinwoo. Just then, Jinwoo walks into the restaurant and comes straight over to Jinho's table, but he's friendly about it. And in the middle of their conversation, he calls Jinwoo Big Brother. He doesn't even know why he said that. Jinwoo smiles and says, "You can just call me Jinwoo." The next day, Jinho is about to skip college, so he calls Jinwoo and says, "Can you take attendance for me instead?" Jinwoo says, "You're so famous that all the professors know you." Jinwoo says, "Then think of something else. I have to go to the hospital today." Just then, we see Juhee walking past Jinwoo. In case you forgot, she's that B-Rank's healer, the one we first saw in Season 1's first episode, who used to care about Jinwoo so much. As she walks past Jinwoo, she stops right there and asks, "Excuse me, have we met before?" But Jinwoo doesn't even turn to look at her. He just flat out says, "No," and walks away. I mean, bro, look at that loyalty. Now that's a real Sigma. Meanwhile, you guys, one girl says hi and you're already losing your minds. Anyway, the scene shifts to a hospital, where we see Chairman Go Gun-hee lying in bed. Well, technically he's not the chairman in this world, but I'll still call him chairman, just feels right. His condition is pretty bad. A doctor comes in to check on him. His eyes land on a strange-looking bottle. He asks, "What is this?" The chairman says, "A few days ago, a young man came by and handed this to me. He said if I drink this, all my illnesses would disappear." And the even more interesting part, he said that in another timeline, I used to fight monsters alongside him, and that I'd saved a lot of lives, so he wanted to give me this gift. The doctor says, "Sir, you're not actually believing all this, are you? What if it's poison or something?" The chairman replies, "I'm tired of this sickness. What difference does it make if it's poison? You tell me how much time do I have left?" The doctor goes completely silent. Then the chairman opens the bottle, drinks it, and says, "Let me rest for a while." Then the scene cuts to a bit later. When the chairman's eyes open, we see that he's now completely healed. Even the dark circles under his eyes are totally gone. He feels completely refreshed, like he's been given a new life. Time keeps passing like that, and then comes a 10-year time skip. The scene shifts to a police station, where a new officer is joining today. His name is Lee. Since it's Lee's first day, he's a bit nervous. He finds out that there's an officer at this police station whose criminal arrest rate is 200%. And he doesn't just solve his own cases, he also solves cases for other officers in the department. Any case he takes on, he makes sure the criminal gets convicted. This officer is known around here as the Phantom. Just then, another officer comes up to Lee, welcomes him on his first day, and offers him coffee. "I've been told I'll be working with Officer Sung. Can you show me where their office is?" The officer replies, "You don't mean the Phantom, do you?" Hearing that, Lee gets completely stunned. The officer explains they call him the Phantom because he appears and disappears out of nowhere like a ghost. Just then, the Phantom shows up from behind. He walks up to Lee and asks, "So you're the new recruit?" The officer says, "Yeah, that's him." Lee is pretty terrified. He never expected he'd be working directly with the Phantom. Then the Phantom casually puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "All right then, starting today, I'll be training you." Lee gets even more scared. His mind is racing, wondering if the Phantom got mad about him drinking coffee, worried he might get some kind of punishment. Just then, we find out the Phantom is none other than Jinwoo. After 10 years, his look has changed quite a bit. His hairstyle is different too, and he's gotten a bit taller than before. A few days later, we see Officer Lee getting overwhelmed with his workload. He's slumped over his desk, and next to him, Jinwoo is sitting there working. Then Jinwoo notices something on the desk. There's a girl talking to an officer about her friend. Her friend had recently committed suicide. The girl says, "Please check this case one more time. She wasn't the kind of person who'd kill herself, officer." He doesn't find any proof that would show it was a murder either. Still, Jinwoo decides he'll go to the location himself and investigate. The scene shifts to nighttime. Jinwoo is at the crime scene, meaning the girl's house. He goes into the bathroom, where the girl had killed herself in the bathtub, and finds some traces of blood there. Right here, we learn that Jinwoo can now extract a shadow from a body without needing to touch it. Then Jinwoo asks, "Did you take your own life willingly?" The girl answers, "Yes." Jinwoo asks, "Then what was the reason?" The girl tells Jinwoo everything, but we don't see that part yet. Then the scene shifts, and we see Jinwoo has gone to the girl's father's house for questioning. Jinwoo says, "Can you step outside with me for a moment? I need to ask you something about your daughter." Her father says, "Yeah, of course, I'll fully help you investigate my daughter's death." The two of them head to a cafe, and Jinwoo starts asking him about the girl. They have a pretty long conversation between the two of them, but let me sum it up quickly. In the end, the girl got so fed up with everything that she took her own life. Jinwoo shows him all the evidence and proves everything. After that, the man's condition just falls apart, but Jinwoo gives him two options. The first option is to turn himself in to the police, but the man says, "Whatever the price is, I'm ready to pay it." Jinwoo gives a slight smile and says, "I knew you'd pick that option." Then Jinwoo tells him, "This cafe you're sitting in right now, this is the land of the dead." Jinwoo says, "Think carefully. How did you get here?" The man starts thinking, and then he notices that there's no one else in the cafe except the two of them. He panics even more and starts screaming, "No, this can't be real. It's a dream. It's a dream." He starts running away, But then one of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers kills him. Meanwhile, the girl who committed suicide thanks Jinwoo. After that, the scene shifts back to the real world, where Jinwoo has gone to meet Jinho. The two of them have become pretty good friends by now. Then suddenly, Jinho pulls out a ring and says that he's going to propose to Jaina today, meaning to Jinwoo's sister. He asks, "This ring is good, right? She'll like it, won't she?" Jinwoo says he doesn't have much of an idea about these kinds of things. Jinho says, "No worries, I'm fully prepared." He tells him that he spent 30 billion won to buy a building where he's building a hospital. That hospital will be completely finished by the time Gina's college ends. And after that, she won't need to look for a job anywhere else. Hearing all this, Jinwoo is completely shocked. He says, "Why are you doing all of this?" Then Jinwoo explains it to him. "Look, to prove your love, there's no need to give such an expensive gift. You're a really good person. You don't need to change yourself. Just stay exactly the way you are. That's what Jaina will love." Hearing this, Jinho gets emotional and hugs Jinwoo tightly. Now the scene shifts to nighttime. Jinwoo goes back home. We're shown that over these 10 years, Jinwoo has gotten married to Cha. And about them, they have a little son named Suho, and both of them welcome Jinwoo home. Cha asks him, "You don't even drink, so why are you going out for drinks?" Jinwoo explains that he went to meet Jinwoo because he was going to teach him something important, combat training. But Igris says that in this world, education is way more valuable, so they should teach him to read and write first. Only then, Jinwoo calms them both down and says, "This is all just talk for now. First, let Suho learn to walk on his own 2 feet. It's really great that you came to visit again. I've been looking for you for a long time." Jinwoo pulls out another bottle of holy water of life and says, "If you want, I can cure your illness." But this time, the chairman refuses. He says, "I've already lived a full life. Whatever I needed to do, I did it all in those 10 years you gave me. What would I even do with more life now?" Then he adds, "But yes, I do have one request. 10 years ago, you told me there was a world where we die." Jinwoo says, "Maybe you wouldn't want to see those memories again." But the chairman insists. In the end, Jinwoo gives in. He takes the chairman's hand and starts showing him all those memories, everything they did in that world. Slowly, they come back to him. Like getting the chance to fight alongside the young hero, what could be better than that? And with those words, right there, he breathes his last. Jinwoo gets emotional too. He wipes away the chairman's tears, says a final goodbye, and from there he leaves. Jinwoo Cha says, "Suho is flying through the air. We see Suho flying all around inside the house, and everything is scattered everywhere. Cha is trying to stop him but just can't catch him. Igris and Belly and Cha asks in surprise, "Wait, so you can fly too?" Jinwoo says, "Yeah, but I just never told you." Inside the house, Bellion and Igris appear again, arguing with each other. Bellion says, "Our young master has learned to fly now, so I'm going to teach him how to fight in the air." Igris replies, "What are you talking about? Our young master is going to study and become a pilot." Meanwhile, Cha is fed up with all 3 of them and is cleaning up all the mess scattered around the house. A few days later, we see Beru with Suho. Suho really likes Beru. Wherever Beru goes, Suho follows right behind him. Suho can't even say his name properly yet, so he calls Beru Ant because, well, Beru's an ant. Beru keeps wondering why the young master is always following him around. He thinks of himself as pretty terrifying. So why does Suho like him this much? Igris explains it to him. "It's because you're not some ordinary ant. You can talk, you can walk, and you can even fly. Every kid loves stuff like that." Hearing that, Beru gets really happy. "What? So the young master actually likes me?" And the moment he says that, Beru gets all shy. Now the scene shifts to the world of eternal slumber, where all the shadow soldiers live. Beru goes there to meet the leader of the builder soldiers, who basically handles all the construction work in that world. Beru had asked them to work on a project, but he tells them there are a few changes to the plan. Hearing that, the builder completely panics. "What are you saying, Marshal Beru? We already built everything and got it ready, exactly the way you asked." Actually, Beru had asked them to build a giant statue of Jinwoo in that world, because Jinwoo's 32nd birthday was coming up, and he wanted to surprise his king. Then Beru explains that they don't need to change much, just a small modification, and he lays out the whole plan. Hearing that, the builder says the plan is good, but they're short on labor and running low on time. So why? Because Jinwoo is home at night. Actually, Jinwoo was a police officer, and he had shut down a huge illegal business these guys were running. They can't take revenge on Jinwoo directly. Then suddenly, two of their buddies vanish from the PJ, which makes them a bit nervous, but then they figure they probably ran off out of fear. They decide to push forward, but right then Beru grabs them from the PJs. A few days later, we're shown the world of eternal slumber again, where we see all the demons of the demon castle. Ejul is there too, along with her family members, and together they've all completed this new project. Seeing that, Beru and the rest of the soldiers are completely thrilled, and they start celebrating. This turned out so beautiful. Our king is going to be so happy when he sees this. Actually, the original statue only had Jinwoo, but Beru had made a little change and added Suho to it as well, because Suho loved Beru so much, and Beru had gotten pretty attached to Suho too. So the happiest one of all seeing that statue is Beru. He says that years later, if the young monarch ever makes it into this world in the future, then he'd be overjoyed to see this. But right then, Suho's voice comes from behind. He's shouting, "Aunt!" Seeing that, Beru and the rest of the shadow soldiers are completely shocked, because Suho had already gotten into this world so easily. This early now, after this, there's another small time skip. We're shown a few years later, when Suho has grown up a bit and starts going to school. One day, his teacher calls Chain to the school. And shows her a drawing that Suho made in which he'd drawn ants and shadow soldiers. Kane asks what's wrong with it. The teacher says they'd asked all the students to draw their friends. Kane understands that this might be normal for him, but it wouldn't seem normal to anyone else. Suho had drawn Baru, Tusk, Igris. All of them? Not only that, when he was asked to draw his family members, he drew all the shadow soldiers along with his actual family. The teacher first thinks Suho might be a victim of child abuse, but because he's so brilliant, that doubt slowly fades away. They start thinking maybe Suho is just a unique artist. Now after this, the scene shifts to nighttime. When Jinwoo comes home, Chain shows Jinwoo Suho's drawing and explains everything the teacher said. But Jinwoo just starts laughing when he sees all of it. Chain says this isn't something to laugh about. It might be normal for us, but to normal people this could seem creepy. Not only that, all the kids at school are scared of Suho. Even though our Suho never hurt them or bullied them, they all lower their eyes in front of Suho. Nobody even makes eye contact with him. Jinwoo understands that kids have a very pure sense. They must be sensing the Shadow Monarch's power. That's why they feel scared, and they keep their distance from Suho. And slowly, the power of death, meaning the Shadow Monarch's power, will keep growing inside Suho, because of which he won't be able to live an ordinary life, nor will he be able to make normal friends. So Jinwoo decides that until Suho grows up, he'll temporarily seal his power, and along with that, he'll also erase his shadow soldier memories. Beru is there too. Jinwoo shows him Suho's drawing and says, "Look, he drew you too." Seeing that, Beru gets emotional and starts crying. He makes a request to Jinwoo. "My king, can I at least say farewell to the young master one last time?" Jinwoo gives him permission. Then Beru heads to Suho's room, where he's fast asleep. Beru says, crying young monarch, "I'm going to miss you so much. I'm so grateful I got the honor of serving you. Please take good care of your health and stay steady." Meanwhile, Suho mumbles in his sleep, Boss Aunt, Baru says, "I wish you all the success in your life. Until then, from me and all the shadow soldiers, farewell. We'll meet again." After that, Jinwoo walks in and places his hand on Suho's head. He seals all his power and wipes his memories clean. Then, the scene cuts straight to 10 years later. Suho has grown up quite a bit now, and he's heading off to high school. Today is his first day of high school. On the very first day, he runs into some bully students who are surrounding his friend and beating him up. Actually, that kid's name is Sang-hun, and he went to middle school with Suho. Today's his first day too. The moment Suho sees his friend getting beaten, he rushes over, and without even using his hands, he takes down all 3 bullies with a single kick. Full swagger too. Well, he's Jinwoo's son, so of course the aura's gonna show. Then he tells his friend, "Looks like I'm gonna have to protect you here too." Suho doesn't take credit for the incident. Word spreads around school that Sang-hun beat up those 3. Everyone starts saying they should stay away from him. After that, the scene cuts to the afternoon. School's already out, and all the students have left their classroom. Suho's walking out of his class too. He's thinking to himself, "Life's gotten so boring. I always feel like I used to know so much at some point, stuff that was really interesting, but now I've forgotten all of it." Then he decides, forget it. I'll hit the internet cafe and play some games today. But the moment he opens the door to leave class, the door is locked. Suho gets confused and walks over to the window. There he sees that the whole world outside has completely stopped, like someone froze time. Everything except Suho is frozen solid. Suho gets even more confused. Then, right inside the classroom, a mysterious gate suddenly opens up. Suho panics and starts thinking, what could this be? What am I supposed to do now? Then he remembers what his mom used to say. She always told him, you're just like your dad. Remembering that gives Suho a little bit of confidence. He thinks to himself, what would my dad do in this situation? And without a second thought, he steps right into the gate. The moment he goes in, he gets teleported to some unknown place, and the gate closes behind him. But seeing all this, Suho doesn't get scared. He thinks, well, the gate's closed now. That means I don't have any choice but to move forward. Going a bit further, he finds a weapon room, where there's a collection of all kinds of different weapons all around. As soon as Suho reaches for one of the weapons, a status bar suddenly appears in front of him. Seeing that, he gets startled, because he's never seen anything like that. Status bar shows all the details about the weapon, like its name, damage, durability, and rank. Suho notices that every weapon lying there has its own status bar popping up. Seeing that, he's pretty surprised. He says, this is just like a game. Do I have to pick just one of these? He slowly checks out all the weapons, but none of them really stand out to him. Then, as he moves a little further ahead, he spots some gauntlets. He tries them on and thinks, everyone uses swords, right? I should try something new. Even though those gauntlets are only E rank. After picking up the weapon, we get to see Suho's own status bar too, which shows his level is still just 1, and he also has the title Young Monarch. Then as he goes a bit further, he sees some iron statues, standing in a row. Suho's casually walking past them, when suddenly one of the statues attacks him, but Suho senses it without even realizing. He dodges using his gauntlet, and before that statue can attack again, Suho shatters it into pieces with a single punch. Right then, he gets a level up notification. Seeing that, even Suho himself is surprised. He thinks, how did I just kill it with one punch? But then all the iron soldiers start grouping up at once, and they surround Suho. Suho panics for a moment, but then, one by one, he easily takes down all the iron soldiers. The soldiers just keep coming without end, but you can see right here in this video, Suho's level keeps climbing steadily, and he slowly gets stronger and stronger. Eventually, after a certain point, he takes down all the iron soldiers. After that, his level has gone all the way up to 19. Suho himself can feel that he's become seriously strong now. He thinks to himself, this system is working just like a game, and because of that, he's actually having a lot of fun. But deep down, he still has plenty of questions about these powers. Still, he decides to keep moving forward. A little while later, he spots a massive gate up ahead. The moment he opens that gate, he sees someone sitting on a throne right in front of him. He wonders if this could be the boss of this game. The guy looks incredibly strong just by appearance. Then it's revealed that the boss is none other than Igris. Right then, Igris rises from his throne and draws his sword. Seeing that, Suho thinks to himself, I should attack first. But while he's still thinking, Igris suddenly appears right in front of him. Before Suho can even move, Igris lands a massive attack. That attack leaves Suho badly injured. And then, all of a sudden, he gets teleported somewhere else. Suho is terrified. He wonders how he even survived, and then he notices he's respawned back at the exact spot where he first started. He's completely confused and decides to head back there again. Just then, this time he decides to switch up his gauntlets and picks a C-crank one instead. He tells himself he needs to be more careful this time because if all 3 white flame torches go out, who knows what's going to happen to him. After that, the scene cuts to a bit later. He's gotten beaten by Igris again and respawned in the same spot. This time when he checks, another white flame torch has gone out, meaning only 1 torch is still burning now. Suho is completely, then I'll never be able to beat him. Just then, in the weapon room, he spots a sword that looks exactly like the one Igris has. Seeing it, he thinks, wait, this is exactly the same. That means the boss has the real sword. If that's the case, who knows what his lit instead of going straight for the boss. He goes to fight the soldiers first, so he can level up more before taking on Igris, otherwise, he'll never beat him. As soon as he gets there, iron soldiers surround him from every side. This time, he's actually happy about it, because it means he can level up quickly. Then he starts taking out the soldiers one by one. Some soldiers are attacking from long range with bows and arrows, but Suho handles them pretty easily. Meanwhile, his level keeps climbing fast. After a while, a notification pops up. You've reached the required level to become a player. Then a new quest appears, one that'll help him achieve his goal. Suho gets totally excited and says, "This is great. Besides, without a clock, I had no idea what time it even was here." Just then, high-level soldiers of all different kinds start showing up. One of them, Age, fires off a fire attack the moment it appears. Suho barely manages to dodge it. But then all the mage soldiers join together and start casting a spell, unleashing one massive fire attack. Suho just barely blocks that attack with his shield. But while he's busy dodging, all the mage soldiers team up again and cast a summoning spell. A giant golem appears. Suho's like, "Okay, that's enough of them. My turn now." He throws his shield away first and says, "I don't need this anymore." Then he grabs a sword and easily takes down the golem too. After that, he starts throwing away his other weapons one by one because he's way stronger than before. Now he doesn't need those weapons anymore. With just his bare hands, he takes out soldier after soldier. In no time, he wipes out all of them. After that, his levels start shooting up fast, and notifications keep flooding in one after another. He's reached a higher class now. But Suho's still thinking, this still isn't enough. To defeat the boss, I need to get even stronger. Just then, more soldiers start appearing again. Suho keeps taking them all down, and one after another, titles, levels, high ranks, and items keep unlocking. A little later, the scene cuts Suho's back in the boss room, where Igris is waiting for him. But this time, Suho's aura is completely different. He's way stronger than before. And Igris uses the smoke to his advantage and closes in on Suho, then swings his sword in a single strike. But this time, Suho doesn't run. He throws a straight counterpunch, which causes a massive blast right there. Then a high-speed battle erupts between the two. Suho can barely keep up with Igris's speed. Because of that, he ends up taking a hit and gets sent flying, slamming into a pillar. But he recovers almost instantly, and this time, he unleashes a devastating attack on Igris. Seeing that, even Igris starts to think, so this is the power of the young monarch. And he hasn't even reached level 100 yet. Then it gets revealed to us. As Suho's level kept going up, he kept receiving additional points that were already stored in his system. That's why he was able to take down all those soldiers so easily. By the time he reached level 70, all his stat points had grown from 40 and been added to his current points, which meant that even though he was level 70, his strength level was equivalent to 110. That's why he could go toe-to-toe with Igris, although we know Igris isn't fighting at full strength. Now their fight continues again. Suho finally lands a punch on Igris, but he doesn't stop there and starts landing punch after punch. Slowly, he begins to overpower Igris. Seeing this, Igris is genuinely impressed, because Suho was pulling all this off while his power was still largely sealed. Just then, Suho is about to throw one final punch, but Igris speaks up, "Young monarch, you win. I surrender." With those words, Igris vanishes from the spot, and Suho finally defeats Igris after that. His level shoots up massively. He's completely thrilled and starts celebrating. But then, another gate opens up behind him. Suho thinks maybe this is the exit, and he steps right through it. But instead of going to the real world, he gets teleported somewhere else entirely. That's when his eyes land on a three-headed monster. Turns out, he's made it to the Demon Castle. The same Demon Castle with 100 floors and tons of monsters on every single floor. If you remember, at the gate of the Demon Castle, this same three-headed monster used to stand guard. The one Jinwoo had taken down like it was nothing. But the moment that monster lays eyes on Suho, it gets completely terrified and freezes up. Because Suho's face is a perfect match for Jinwoo's, so it freezes and pretends it's not a monster at all, just a statue. And Suho thinks it really is just a statue, so he ignores it and moves on. As soon as Suho steps onto the first floor, a ton of monsters surround him there, but Suho wipes them all out in just a few seconds, without even breaking a sweat. Seeing that, even he himself gets surprised. What was that? These weak monsters. And just like that, he clears the 10th floor super easily, then the 20th floor too. By the 30th floor, he has to put in a little effort. But even that he clears pretty easily. A little while later, the boss monster of the 50th floor, he defeats it in just a few hits. Now all of this is starting to feel boring to Suho. He thinks to himself, even boss monsters are going down in just a few hits now. Did I get this strong after fighting that Black Knight? At this point, every floor is taking him about an hour to clear. And just like that, he finally reaches the 100th floor. He thinks, now the real fun begins. Now he'll get some strong boss to fight. But that's when a Jill appears in front of him. Suho thinks she's the monster, so he attacks immediately, because he doesn't want to waste his time at all. Jill says, "Hey, hold on, I'm not a monster. Then she smiles and says, even the Shadow Monarch took quite a while to get here, but you made it here in just a few attempts, and that too without any help from shadow soldiers. Last time, you couldn't even reach this point, Suho asks, confused. What do you mean, last time? Ejil says with a laugh, oh, nothing. Then she introduces herself, telling him her name and the name of her clan. Suho is still confused and asks, there's no boss monster on this floor? Ejil explains, there used to be a very dangerous demon king here at one point, but the Shadow Monarch defeated him, and ever since then, our clan has been #1. Then Ejil congratulates Suho on making it this far, and welcomes him to this floor. She invites him to a banquet, a party, that her father had arranged. Just then, Suho cuts her off and asks, you said there's no monster here, so what is that? Ejil explains that it's a gate 1 that leads to another dimension, but she'd suggest he take a rest and grab something to eat and drink first. But Suho flat out refuses and says, I don't have time, and besides, I have no idea what demons even eat. And as for drinking, I'm still underage, so I'll come back another time. Hearing that, Ejil is reminded of Jinwoo. He'd said something almost exactly like that, see you later someday, and it's been 60 years since then, but Jinwoo never came back. On top of that, his shadow soldiers in the world of eternal slumber only ever get summoned to build big buildings and statues. I mean, honestly, at this point I even felt bad for them. Jinwoo shouldn't have done that. Anyway, Suho still won't budge and says, your name's Ejil, right? And I've memorized your clan's name too. We'll definitely meet again. Hearing that, Ejil starts to blush a little, and she gives in. After that, Suho finally steps through that gate, and this time, he gets teleported into yet another new dimension. It's pitch dark there. Then suddenly, a ton of ants show up. Seeing them, Suho finds it pretty creepy too. But Suho doesn't have any option other than to kill those ants. So even though he doesn't want to, he fights those creepy ants. Compared to all the low-level soldiers and monsters he'd fought so far, these ants are way stronger than all of them. That's why, while fighting them, his level is shooting up super fast. And by now, he's reached level 94, though these ants just don't seem to stop coming. After fighting for a long time, he finally defeats all the ants. Then he spots a really huge gate there. The moment he steps inside the gate, Beru is standing right in front of him. Suho wonders if he'll have to fight this thing too. It looks just like the other ants, and it's all alone. Then Suho notices something. Wait, why is this ant crying? The truth is, Beru spent Suho's entire childhood with him. Even if Suho doesn't remember those memories, Beru remembers all of it. He didn't want to fight Suho, but because of Jinwoo's orders, he has to fight. So crying the whole time, he attacks. Beru's attacks come so fast that even Suho can't keep track of him. He tries to dodge, but Beru feels guilty seeing that he hesitates for a moment and stops his attacks mid-swing. Seeing this, Suho gets confused, but he takes advantage and lands a punch. Meanwhile, Beru heals himself and comes back to attack again. But this time too, he keeps stopping mid-attack over and over, and hesitating, taking advantage of that. Suho finally manages to defeat him, but Suho isn't satisfied with this win. He thinks, I got so lucky to win here. That ant was seriously scary, but also pretty weird. It was hesitating the whole time. After defeating Beru, Suho's level shoots up again. Meanwhile, Beru, still crying, says, I was so careless. Just then, Suho sees another gate opening up, but he's already exhausted from all these battles. His level is now at 99. He thinks, this is probably the max level, so maybe I can go home now. But this gate takes him to yet another new dimension. This time there are all kinds of different monsters in front of it. He starts fighting them and is taking them down pretty easily. Then we see the Titan's army of monsters show up. The same army we saw a couple episodes ago. The ones who came to this world after using the Cup of Reincarnation. But Jinwoo had handled them pretty easily. We see their leader is with them too. The same guy who came to fight after changing his form. Now he's become part of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers. And he's the one controlling the entire army. Actually, this guy was pretty close rank, so you can imagine how strong he was. That's why Jinwoo gave him a chance to participate in this system. He says, even though you're the young monarch, can you handle my full power? Suho's like, did you say something? And the next second, he attacks him. Their battle goes on for a while, but Suho defeats him pretty easily too. And he's literally smashing his entire Titan army in a single attack. Just then, Tusk shows up. He releases such a dangerous magical wave that Suho literally gets pressed into the ground just from his pressure. Just then, Suho notices something. Every last boss monster he defeated up until now, they all look just like black shadows. And here, Tusk and that Titan leader looked exactly the same way. That's when Suho realizes these black shadow-type soldiers, they're the bosses of each stage, so that's why they're all like this.